Hello, and welcome to Read and React, presented by Fable Table and hosted by me, Nick Bowen, and the lovely Shannon. Hi, Shannon. How are you?
I'm terrific. Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing swell. Although, I had a day off today to get my hair cut. Please, in the chat, let me
Yeah,
know, and in the comments, let me know
you
what you
look
think.
fantastic.
And I
My
also
partner just got
had.
home. Nick got
Oh,
his haircut. Look how handsome he looks. He said you look gorgeous.
thank you. Thanks, buddy. Miss you.
He also
Um,
said, and it's about time.
fair. Fair.
Fair.
I also went to the doctor and they drew some blood for some tests, but the poor medical assistant missed the vein both times and had to go get someone else to do it. And I feel riddled
Oh,
or punctured. Pick your adjective. That's me right
that
now.
sucks. I'm
So
sorry, my dude.
I'm a little tired as a result, but it was a productive day and I'm feeling good. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
really excited to talk about book 3. Wow.
Oh, it's so good.
So a quick spoiler at the top here. We will be discussing chapters 1 through 18 of book 3 of Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman and voice acted by Jeff Hayes. We don't have any clips this week. We might next week. But mild spoilers for the entire book. There are some things I want to talk about that span the scope of the entire book, just so we can talk about them all at once and get them out of the way. Um, for example, the Iron Tangle.
Oh, my God.
I don't. We would be here for twice as long if we were going to talk about everything going on with the dungeon floor on the fourth floor of the crawl. But we're not going to do that. I kind of want to talk about it all at once and then move on.
I'm
Um,
completely fine with that. And like the thing about the tangle is that it was so complicated a floor design that right up until like the last couple of chapters, like they're still explaining things about like hidden rooms and how
yeah,
like yeah, like right up until the
uh,
last couple of chapters, they're like, oh, but this secret other thing. I'm
yeah.
like,
So this
Jesus
is like the
Christ.
second time I've read this book, and I've spent a lot of time rereading
Yeah,
sections and looking at wikis and drawings and AI generated images and trying to understand
yeah.
it. And I'm still at a loss for a lot of it, but that's okay. I think that
I
that could
yeah.
really put off a lot of people. And you know what, honestly, like this floor of the dungeon is one that takes a lot of chaff off the top, if for readers and for crawlers.
I
Uh,
have my thoughts about it are kind of like when it gets to be so complex. Like I part of the thing I love about this is that Matt Dinniman has a little quote in the very beginning of this book, and he's like, "Hey,
yes,
complicated, but like just know that I understand it enough, and that it works out okay in the end," or
yes.
something like that. I was just like, "Yep."
It
I sort of approach it with a hand wavy, like it's magic, and then I just move on.
It reminds me of there's this one board game called Charterstone, which is like one of those legacy games where like you permanently modify the game as you go, and there's like a story to it, or development and unlocking of things as you go. And at one section of the rules at the near the very end, it specifically calls out like this is a big game with a lot of rules, and you might make mistakes. It's okay. It's okay. You don't go back. Just it'll probably all average out. You'll make mistakes that benefit you. You'll make mistakes that hurt you. Don't worry about it. And I know a lot of people like on the spectrum that really struggle with board gaming and video games if there is like a rule that's broken, and it can
Yeah.
really ruin their experience because it feels invalid to them. But I understand that like explicitly stating that it is okay can really help them move on from it, and explaining like the logic why it's okay. And I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
appreciate it. And I feel like Matt Dinniman going, "Don't fucking worry about it," at the top of the book is really helpful.
I do love
Um,
that.
So
Yeah, I love his little disclaimers. Yeah, I'm sorry, get
yeah,
into it.
you're good. So before we get into talking about the Iron Tangle, which I actually kind of want to do right up front, I first want to like touch base on the themes of the book and some of the major plot threads that are
Mhm.
pervasive through this whole book. So in terms of themes, I wrote down like we are exploring floors getting a lot more complex, not just for
Mhm.
the crawlers to figure out, but also for the showrunners themselves to manage, like Borant
Yeah.
specifically. Um, there is, as we've just been talking about, a big mystery for how the floor works. And by the end of the first half of the book, most of it is kind of solved. Most of it, not all of it, but most of it.
Yeah. Good portion of it, yes.
Oh yeah, not the most important pieces that they need, but most of it.
Enough. Yeah.
Enough to understand how fucked they are. Uh,
Exactly.
Other major themes are the crawlers kind of being forced to all work together and to communicate in order to
Mhm.
survive. Um, but with that, the complexities of how the crawl hits them against one another further complicate and
Yes.
deepen here.
Mhm.
And in some ways that have always been there, we just haven't seen them acting out yet. And then I think also just very broadly, the responsibility of found family is a major theme in this book, and
Oh, huge.
compassion for others.
Yes.
And that is explored in a lot of different facets here, and we'll bring up those moments. So those are some major themes, just to kind of like name them at the top here. And then through some of the plots that they are explored, the plot threads are figuring out the Iron Tangle, player collaboration and PvP, through bounties, their information network, and in crawlers' perceptions of one another that are being framed by recaps. It starts to become a major thing. Like, how do crawlers think of Carl? How do Carl and Donut think of other crawlers because of what they're experiencing through that curated recap? Um, it's really interesting. The roles of NPCs and monsters are further explored.
Hmm.
Katya, our new crawler who has joined the party from Hekla's team, and like her as a character grows a lot, and she as a pseudo party member changes a lot throughout um, this book and is a point of tension. Donut's growing emotional complexity is huge here.
Yeah.
Um, Carl's rebellion against the universe
Hmm.
and the powers that be. Um, just to quickly recap where he is at with that from the end of the last book, he last told Donut that he does not really believe in large systemic change, and that his engagement as a rebel or an anarchist, as you will, is really just about like leveraging big powers against one another for survival. Um, and that is a plot thread that is going to persist throughout the whole series, and he's
Oh,
still
yeah.
a baby in terms of his growth in that thread.
Yes. I
Uh,
am. Ah, God. I love watching him just scream at the sky and like piss people off. It's delicious.
it's very
He's
good.
his growth, and especially and Donut's growth and Katya's growth. I mean,
Yeah.
Donut has been evolving, but it's really nice seeing Katya come out of her shell in these first few chapters, because like where we left her at the end of the last book, it was literally like her with a melting face, and he handed her the button, like the kill switch to push the button and blow everything up, and she was like, I can't do this, don't make me do this, it's terrifying. She was fucking
Mm-hmm.
terrified.
She was,
And
yeah,
even in the beginning of
sheepish.
this, yeah, sheepish in the first few chapters. Just from chapter 1 to chapter 18, Katya is
Yeah.
like meteoric
Night
in
and
terms of
day.
her.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
let's keep
Oh,
going.
yeah, and Mordecai frame I think was the person to kind of frame like how we initially think of Katya, and that is like she is, I think he literally called her a train wreck, ironically. because of the personal stuff that she has going on that we only begin to scratch the surface in throughout this
Oh
book.
yeah.
But also she doesn't have a good grasp on her class and some of her abilities, and is falling behind. But Mordecai says she has a lot of potential. If we can get her going, she will be very useful to us, as like a frontline tank. So like there is a lot of like Mordecai pushing us to look at Katya through utility.
Yeah, as a resource, you
As a
know. I
resource. Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Um,
he doesn't have the same investment in her. It's fair to say, as he does in Carl and Donut.
mhm.
Carl and Donut, in terms like the way that I think that he felt about them initially was very much related to the getting him to the fourth floor. It was his, oh my
Mhm.
God, this might actually happen. And now his investment in Donut is, I think he has integrity. You know what I mean? I don't know that
Yeah.
he's as invested in Carl in so much as Carl's relationship with Donut. You know what I mean? I think
Right.
he, I think he's like, I think
Well,
it's more
well,
like,
he knows that Donut is still a child mentally and
yeah,
emotionally. So
yeah.
Carl is Donut's chaperone in the dungeon, and Mordecai can't go with her. He has to rely on Carl. And he knows Carl has a good
Mhm.
head on his shoulders, and they agree on most things, but not everything. And when they don't, it's a huge tension. So that's another plot thread,
Yeah,
is that
yes.
continued, moments where they really butt heads being very important. Yeah. And then the final kind of plot thread that I think really develops a lot here is just like Team Meadowlark. Last we saw Brandon and Chris were together and
Yeah.
with Imani, um, and they had just gotten all of the elders down below, and it was taking them a really long time to get them all through their class and race picks. Um, and we
We see
didn't
some
really
big
hear much from them.
developments
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
big changes in what Team Meadowlark looks like and how they are engaging with Carl. So yeah, those are our major plot threads. So let's start with the kind of the messiest bit of the whole book, and that is the Iron Tangle. What it is and what its purpose serves in the book, and kind of what some of the outcomes of the whole process of figuring out the Iron Tangle and joining our characters on that journey of figuring it out. Like, what does that accomplish in the book? I kind of don't want to like talk about it over and over and over, and because it's literally like at least every other chapter there's some development, and
Some new horrible thing. Yeah,
it's
that they're
just this big
discovering.
slow burn that if we kept like jumping back and forth to it, I think it would take us forever to get through it. But essentially, the Iron Tangle, which is the entire floor, is a messy train line business. I think toward the end of the book, it actually gets described as like a bowl of noodles that had a fork put in it and spun,
Huh?
to describe all of the lines that are moving through it. But from the narrative perspective, it is a business, a train line business with NPC employees operating it, and then monsters who use the trains to migrate. All of the NPCs have backstories and personalities, and the monster behavior. It's all designed and pre-programmed into these, again, engineered biological people and creatures, and it's all put together in a way where it seems like it's this um, working machine, that's very neatly engineered, but slow burn, things break and fall apart, and it becomes a big domino effect, that takes this like ecosystem and destroys it, and it causes huge problems for the crawlers. um
I think it's important to say that it was always intended to break down. Like they're very much
yes.
following the like the rule of the day. You know what I mean? Like they're very much like following in the path that the showrunners are wanting them to take for this floor. So like because there
Right.
is also like a shitty political message from Bowen about a like a rival system and
Mm-hmm.
their perceived hurt against their own, as we've determined, like their bottom line, basically.
Yeah.
Even though
Uh,
they're utilizing this other system's technology to
right.
broadcast the dungeon on. So like, anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Right.
anyway.
So the political message is really interesting. It's basically a lot of the monsters that migrate around are migrating around to get drugs from
Yep.
Krakaren clones and their employees. And then the monsters fuck off, and then they get high, and then they start coming down, and they migrate again. But as they lose access to the drugs, they start to develop uh,
The
conditions,
DTs.
the
Mhm.
DTs, which we'll talk about later. And then them dying creates a domino effect of worse monsters being created eventually
Yeah.
that completely overrun and destroy the system, the Iron Tangle. And that political commentary about the thing that Krakaren is based on in the real galaxy, their rival, and how their rival
Hmm.
is fucking everything up and is dangerous. And it's really
Right.
messed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
It's yeah.
and
That's
anyway,
what the whole tangle is basically like
yeah,
leading up to them being quote unquote the big bad in the
right.
dungeon in this floor. Like their main rival. It's basically just a farcical, like racist political cartoon,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
And that's that's what the whole basis of this floor is like predicated
Mm-hmm.
on. So like
Yes.
anyway.
Um, Unfortunately, it is not apparent to the crawlers at all. It is completely lost on them. And the only reason we have access to it is because of Mordecai. And maybe other
Yeah.
crawlers might develop the understanding from their managers if they have a manager, because not all classes have them. In fact, very few do. But we learn of a couple other crawlers that have managers. But we only learned it because our crawlers were able to map out so much of the dungeon that he like kind of put it all together.
Mordecai.
But
Love Mordecai.
ultimately, what happens to our crawlers is like this slow burn of understanding and realizing what's going on too late, and they're already stuck and or trapped. And then their ways out of their perceived problem is in fact yet even more traps.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then by the end of the book, like crews are bunkering down, and then another trap gets sprung, and it's utter chaos and confusion. And so, really, what the outcomes of the whole design by Matt Dinniman of this extremely complicated floor that I could see being problematic for some viewers in terms of getting past and wanting to continue this series because they just cannot feel like they understand what's going on. It it does create this extremely confusing situation, which works for, I think, a lot of readers. It worked for me because we, like Carl, Donut, and Katya, are completely disoriented. We are
Yes.
uncertain what they should do. There's no glaring, obvious solution to them or to us that either the characters or the reader are missing or seeing that the other isn't. It's just confusing. And I think
We
it,
learn it as they learn it.
yeah,
It's the name of the game is chaos
right.
on
Uh,
this floor.
yeah, and it's oftentimes a little too late. Um,
Yes.
and
Every time.
yeah,
Almost every time.
right. And by the end of the first half of the book, we are feeling. I wrote that I felt completely. What did I write specifically? I wrote like futility
Mm.
and doom is essentially like when you reach the midpoint of the book, maybe a little bit into some of what we'll cover next week. It's feeling just absolutely hostile and unsolvable, which is great because that's when Carl thrives the most, I
He really
guess.
does. Yes. Carl's
And
a
so
chaos goblin. He's my favorite.
yeah,
He's
so
fun.
so ultimately the chaos creates this sense of futility and impossible odds against the crawlers, which makes the stumbling through the solutions by our characters seem cool and or lucky, and it gives them moments to shine, but also to
Yes.
struggle and not shine, which just makes them feel real. Um, but it also gives Carl's ultimate choice to forge ahead against impossible odds and ultimately his success even more awesome and heroic. So by
So
the
good.
end of the book, at least I don't know if you felt this way. I'm curious what your thoughts. Ultimately, it feels to me like every single crawler is lucky they survived, and that
Yeah.
if Carl and Donut and some others hadn't like lucked out in very specific ways, this could have been an entire extinction save for
Extinction.
a
Yeah.
handful of crawlers.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Because yeah, dude. It's
And part
yes.
of that could be me just not quite understanding that things aren't as bad as I thought they were as I was reading it, but it just seems crazy.
Well, I do want to point out though that like I think one of the things that with the like with this book specifically, Matt did a really great job of showing these other teams like that have reached like the top 10, these other really
Mm-hmm.
skilled players who are a high level. Like we get snippets of them in conversations with Carl like through the chat feature where uh we're and again maybe spoiler, but like Ellie's like, oh yeah, we kicked their ass, and Amani's like, oh yeah, it was tough but we made it through, and or whatever, right? We get to see them, these characters shine in that way, and we're like, oh okay, yeah, they made it, they're fucking doing it, they're doing the damn thing. So like
Mm-hmm.
so yes, Carl and Donut and Katya, without their intervention, lots more people would have died. But I
Yeah.
also hope that, as Carl had said, he's like, there's no way that like maybe this wasn't the only train station, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think he said something to that effect. Like with as many people as there were, even as big as it was, it had to have been broken out into multiple.
Yeah.
Like maybe
Yeah.
there were multiple tangles across,
Yeah.
the
It's true.
under the surface of the earth or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so, but yeah, definitely the case in their specific tangle. If without Carl and Donut's intervention, a lot of them would have been fucked. So,
Indeed.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
I think there's one other outcome I want to mention in terms of like what the Iron Tangle business accomplishes
Yes.
for like this book overall is we grow in our understanding and sympathy towards like NPCs as well as
Yes.
the monsters. Like Carl is thinking about not just the NPCs who have these manufactured backstories where they have family and a job and blah blah blah, but even the monsters themselves, they are created and transformed and given a purpose and a personality, which is a monstrous form and personality and drives and goals. But even they are victims of the system,
Yeah.
of the crawl. So yeah, we explore that in a lot of ways, which really drives home the moments that Carl is unsympathetic to other characters, which we will definitely talk about.
Yeah.
All right.
I
So you and I discussed as we were reading this kind of how we grouped some chapters in chunks. Um,
Mhm.
I have chapters 1 through 3 as the Iron Tangle 101 orientation. So these are just kind of like entrance chapters and getting us again reoriented to a new floors mechanics, as well as where the characters are at, some of the rewards from the previous floor, learning new things from Mordecai, who decided, now is the time to learn this. Yeah. So with chapter 1, I labeled this chapter Katya on boards, all aboard. A little tongue twister.
Oh dang. Mhm.
And yeah, so they appear on a train. I am not interested in discussing like all of the mechanics of how the trains work and all the different cars and the hats and the keys and the engineers and all that, and the way that the stations all work. I will not be discussing any of that. That's really interesting stuff. Uh, that if people want to hear a reaction to, just go reread it and think about it yourself. Um, it's
Fair
just a
enough.
lot of
Yeah, yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that we don't really need to get into, but it's really
Yeah.
interesting. A part of that, like peeling this many layered onion. But they appear on, they spawn on a subway car. They immediately get this choo choo motherfucker achievement, which offers them a very mundane souvenir train hat, which
Hmm.
rereading this book is such a cruel moment, because Carl even specifically looks at the hat to check, like, is this magic? Is there anything special about this? No, there's not. Except yes, there is. It's a vital piece of solving survival in the Iron Tangle, and nobody knows it.
Yep.
But it's, yeah, just kind of this quick passed over moment. We see that the time to collapse is 10 days, whereas it's usually 20. The viewership numbers, which were still for some reason being shown at the start of some chapters, are just going to forever now be unfathomable numbers. They're like 160 trillion favorites and 43 quadrillion views. It's just like, okay, I cannot conceptualize this.
No, me
Um,
either. No.
but we also get the leaderboard where Carl is ranked 6 and I believe Donut is ranked 7. But also a surprise guest is on the leaderboard. It's Elle McGibbons,
Hell yeah, it is.
who we last
That's my
saw
lady.
being in a wheelchair thinking Carl was her late husband.
We should have had kids, Barry.
We should have had children Barry. But she's, I think it's just a quick way of communicating that Team Meadowlark is doing well, because this formerly incapable and incoherent woman in a retirement home is now in the top 10 of the crawl. We also learned
Hell
that
yeah.
sponsorship bidding has started, which is an exciting new facet to the dungeon. But as they spawn on the subway car and are taking everything in, Carl's already thinking about, like, okay, we're going to be in a lot of close quarters combat. We really need to benefit from, my escape plan and Katya's Pathfinder skills.
Hmm.
And there's just a lot of things that he's already internalizing and thinking about.
Close
Meanwhile,
quarter fighting and like can't use a lot of bombs.
yeah, bomb.
Otherwise, I'll kill my teammate.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of good stuff that they're already thinking about, and just really frames for us what they are going to be thinking about and justifying their actions and choices throughout the book. Donut is going through new class options. I'm really glad that we're not. I mean, it is really fun to see all the possibilities and having Matt Dinniman throw lots of options at us and thinking about all the potential classes and skills and stuff. But he starts really like truncating these decisions by Donut on what her temporary actor class is. And we focus on the fact that as Donut's stats go up, she's meeting more prerequisites for classes. So her options are increasing and getting better.
Yeah.
She ends up choosing football hooligan because it has a great benefit for Mongo. Basically, if Mongo
Hmm.
attacks something, everyone in the party gets stat buffs, which is really good. And we also learn here, because this is her first opportunity to learn this, if she gets skills from the previous floor high enough, like if she manages to level up a skill from the default like level 5 that she gets from the former childhood actor, she gets to keep that experience and keep the
Yep.
skill, and it will lose the 5 automatic levels, but at least she's unlocked the skill and can continue farming it and leveling it up. So that kind of factors into some of the decisions that they make moving forward in the series. We get to see how anxious of a tank Katya is, even with her 102 constitution. due to the fact that the train is moving and translates to her momentum skill. And Katya's really nervous here, but we get this sweet moment of Donut like reassuring her that they have her back. Right as Mongo like knocks her over to take point, right after Carl asks her to take point, because Mongo's an excited little monster.
He's adorable. He just wants to get in there.
It's really cute. So the first station they arrive at, they are swarmed by hundreds of demon baby monsters. So we get a really cool kind of encounter for the most of this chapter where they are like bunkering down and holding doors shut. Carl uses some of his traps that we haven't seen before, including the alarm modules, which we learn play song from the past US Billboard Hot 100. And we immediately...
This one was, I think, Fergalicious?
It was, yes. A few of the demon babies break in and Fergalicious starts playing, which is just wonderful. One of the monsters manages to make it to Carl and bite his feet, which is one of the best quotes of the chapter, where he's like, yeah, it bit my foot, which wouldn't do anything, but I screamed. His pedicure kit wears off, so his feet are not invulnerable, which is a funny little moment and reminder that like these things are important to them. They need to be keeping these, you know, the brushing and the pedicure kit going and do all of their buffing, or bad things might happen. And it's just kind of funny. So they're getting swarmed as their car's broken into. Katya's freaking out because she doesn't know how to work with Donut and Carl. But Carl like calls a play for them, and Katya just responds like, "How is that going to work? I don't understand." And Donut in the chat yells, "Just go with it. When Carl says to do something, we do it. Also, I love this song," referring to Fergalicious. Which is just a funny moment where like Katya's panicking, but they like are orienting her to being on the team with them. It's like we call plays and we trust each other. Fucking do it. And they end up running to the, I think towards, Carl uses one of his abilities, and this one is really special, and it's nice in chapter 1 we get to see that he has this in the toolkit. The protective shell that forms like where he stands, and no enemies can pass through it, but other objects and magic can. He casts it in the middle of the train, and the train keeps moving. So everything in the back half of the train just gets splattered because the shell is stationary and the train moves through it, because of the way it works. And I think
that protective shell is maybe the MVP play in this level of the dungeon. I like it.
It gets them out of some dicey spots. Yeah,
some nasty business. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, this is the
slams on the
Okay. I was gonna say, this is, I think, the like unintended or secret benefit that Mordecai had mentioned to him when he first got it. So it's cool that we finally get to see it in action. Is like velocity based benefit.
Yeah. And then like he slams on the shell, and everything kind of like gets smashed and smushed. And Katya is like, when they go into the next train car, it's just blood. It's like blood and gore everywhere. And she is like, I've never seen anything like this. And Donut's like, you better get used to it.
I know, it's really funny. It's like just like a couple like gentle tough love, like
a little bit. Yeah.
When we call a play, do it. Get used to gore.
This is your life from now on. We call the shots. We call the plays.
Yeah,
you can call plays too. Like I do think that like it is the tough love aspect of it, but like part of it too is just like getting her comfortable being in their group, and then giving her agency to like to call plays, to come up with plans and stuff. I know that like the brunt of it and the bulk of it usually is Carl. Being the main man, but like some of the really nicer like moments are when someone else comes up with a thing and Carl's like, hell yeah, that's a great idea, we're doing that.
Yes,
I love seeing those moments. You know what I mean? Like I think even though he hasn't issue, like relinquishing control for something. I think, rightly so, honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of the
but like,
problem of like the
yeah,
main character energy. Like he knows, like he has the gamer and strategic skills.
yeah,
He is Batman, and that he's always the member of Justice League with the plan. And if someone else comes up with a plan, he's already got notes on how to improve it.
yeah,
And
exactly.
it can
Like,
be kind of hard to work with.
yeah, a little bit. I think I do, but I do see examples of that in this book where if someone else comes up with a plan, if it holds water, he's like, fuck yeah, we're doing that plan. And I love seeing that. It shows that Carl plays well with others, you know?
Yeah.
He is
Uh,
trying to help. So,
yeah. So at on its face value, they have told they have told Katya, if we call a play, do it and get used to the blood and guts. That's kind of
yeah.
shocking and scary. But we don't have Katya's perspective to show her reaction to this. It being the first chapter and it being, a funny comment from two funny comments
Yeah.
from Donut. It lands as like, okay, yeah, Katya's got to get used to this. But later
Yep.
we will deal with Katya is not dealing with it as well as we had hoped. And
Yeah.
it's really a really good slow roll of that tension building because we don't know it's tension yet. So
Mhm.
yeah, we get to chapter 2. I labeled this chapter Home Buyers.
Fuck yeah, personal spaces. That
Yes.
is like, okay, but can I want to my favorite thing
There's some great moments here.
is whenever they're opening their boxes, the dungeon gives them cuck Aquaman. You got
Mm-hmm.
fucked by a fish. Because as we learned from the previous book, they all got cheated out of like celestial boxes with the Boren
Mm-hmm.
Corporation's one and only veto, which had never happened this early in the dungeon's history. And so the AI's solution to that is by giving them all personal space
Discretionary.
upgrades.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like things that would normally they would have to pay for themselves. Every person, every crawler who got fucked out of the celestial box got these cuck Aquaman fucked by a fish benefits box, and it has like upgrades and table upgrades and
Yeah.
personal space upgrades, and
So the AI
it's fucking
invents a type
awesome.
of box called a "It's not my fault you fish-headed assholes don't properly program your quests" box. Is the name of the box that
I
they are
love
all
it.
awarded, which has
Yeah,
those coupons for personal spaces and upgrades, which later Mordecai's like, this is as good as a celestial box because
absolutely.
normally your sponsors pay for this and now your sponsors don't have to pay for this and they are expensive. Um, yeah. That's a really funny moment. The other really funny achievement is you are one of the first 5 crawlers to achieve 500 trillion followers. People sure love a good train wreck. Wink.
Wait, yeah.
um, yeah. So as a result, and Mordecai basically says like, yeah, the AI has discretion. Usually by the end of a crawl, the AI is like getting overruled, which causes the AI to break down a bit and develop a personality and attitude and ultimately act out against the showrunners. But
Yep.
this usually does not happen until much, much later. So
Much
like
later in the game.
this feels like a lot of info we learn about the AI, which explains maybe a lot of the behavior, but like, what is the AI already breaking? It's not clear yet at this point. But this seems huge and has huge implications for the entire series, both backwards and forwards.
I just love the
Um,
pushback. I love it because like at every turn, like whenever Borant is trying to like step in and stop a thing from happening, the AI is like, okay, I'm
mm-hmm.
smarter and faster than you, and I will counter this measure by making the crawlers more powerful, giving them better loot, and just basically, things that maybe would have made them money. Like we learned that they get a kickback from the personal spaces. Anything that's bought in the dungeon, they get a portion of the proceeds from, or like from the money of those purchases.
You're talking
So the
about the
dungeon's like,
Bobka protectors or the safe room hosts. themselves?
Not just the safe room host. One of the things that we learn like right after this is that when any purchase made in the dungeon, a portion or a percentage of that goes to Bowen, like the
Uh
funds or whatever. It's like funneled to them. They get a kickback from it, not just the
oh,
babkas,
interesting. I
which is part of the
see.
reason why the AI by
I thought it
giving them
was that the like NPCs have incentives to sell, and like they get better stuff if they sell safe rooms. And then I thought on every um like every prize box above a certain level they have to like pay taxes on it. And so
do, but it's so I
mm,
think it was like chapter 3 maybe. Let
wow.
me see.
Okay. No,
To the
it's all right.
conversation
It's
between he and Mordecai, but he said all those upgrades are expensive. So in addition to the loss of income from the acquisitions, they get a small cut of the dungeon purchases. It's a
oh,
so it's
oh,
not
that's
just
right. Okay, yeah,
sells
yeah.
this will fuck you to the boss people is what Carl says, and
Yeah,
he's like
that's
all the
right.
upgrades are expensive, so they
You're
get a
right.
portion of it. So like this is what I love about this though, like they get their personal spaces, and it was like you should have just let the AI give them their fucking celestial boxes, but like
Well,
this is even
I don't
better than
know.
that now because like they'll just get better and better shit from their sponsors because they can free up all of that money that their sponsors might have sent them in order to get their spaces initially. So now
Right.
all of that money from their sponsors is freed up for like better and better gear.
Yeah.
Fucking
Um
awesome.
yeah. So like I was saying, we learned that the safe room hosts get incentives for selling these
Yeah.
personal spaces. Donut is like one of my favorite moments is Donut negotiating the price down because they know that there's a wiggle room there, even though the
Hmm.
protector is saying there's not. But then Donut succeeds and then starts to get the protector to invest their own money in the purchase and like help offset the
Can't go any
cost.
lower.
And Donut
Well, how
actually, I
much do you have
think,
saved?
manages to convince them because she's like, yeah, you'll be able to come visit us. And the babka's like, wait, really? You'd let me do that? And she's like, yeah, sure, if you pay. Donut's so good.
Yeah.
And then Donut's like, okay, we agree to the deal, so I get my experience for negotiating. And now here we're gonna use our coupons instead, not pay gold. But
Right.
when Dita,
But
the protector, still benefits,
yep,
and she's like
exactly.
crying with joy. It's hilarious.
It's like I knew that it was a test. You wouldn't a real princess would never do such a thing. And oh, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
you're so gracious. I'm like, oh,
It's great.
Donut, you devious. I love
Uh,
it. But yeah.
yes.
Oh, and then
So yeah.
chapter, yeah.
So it's here in chapter 2 we learn that Katya, like how Katya's ability works a lot, and Carl's like, I need to get her armor because she can absorb mass into herself
Yeah.
and distribute it through her body. And we see that throughout the book. She like has like a Hulk mode. She can turn herself into a plow. She can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Um,
She's awesome.
and then, yeah, there's some really fun upgrades. It was really fun looking at the list of upgrades for their personal space and all the buffs that they're getting. It's really good. But
I
yeah,
wrote down the Sims. I wrote down like
yes.
Sims decorating because it's like the interface like donut, it's like like you look at a wall and like wherever your eyes turn, that's like where your door populates like all
Yeah,
along the wall in their
yeah, they
personal
get to
spaces.
like place the rooms and the doors,
Yeah,
and it's like,
and
yeah,
their
an advanced
kitchen and
crafting game, or yeah, Sims like as
yeah,
well.
exactly.
Um, we learn that because of all their coupons, they are like jumping way ahead past a bunch of like the early levels of personal spaces, and they're getting really good benefits by the fact that they have combined all their personal spaces together.
Hmm.
For example, Mordecai's personal space joins them because their combined level raises the personal space level up really high.
To
Um,
a level 5. Yeah.
yeah. It's really fun though. They're already talking about the different like modules that they don't have and they really need, like a store interface. One of them, it's really funny, is like something that lets them interact with their viewers, like read comments of their viewers so that they can kind of like engage with their followers. It's
Yep.
really funny.
What like
Um,
2 guesses on who wants that.
mhm.
The first guess doesn't count. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting though. There is like already this building tension of like, by Katya being here, we are benefiting from her coupons. If she leaves, it will screw us over in these ways. We want
Hmm.
to keep some of her coupons available and our coupons available for future benefits. But just in case she leaves, we're gonna like game this out. And it's
Yeah,
already creating
absolutely.
tension of like when, if and when Katya leaves, which is nice. Um, yeah. One of the upgrades they get is a bed that allows them to sleep for only 2 hours and receive the benefit as if they had slept for 10, I think is what Carl says
Yeah.
later.
And then
Uh,
he says it's the perfect amount of sleep. Like
right.
he said that
Well,
like that's the ideal amount of sleep to get.
yeah. Well, it's funny though, because he's first wrestling with the philosophical idea of like, uh, I get the benefits of only having to sleep for 2 hours and what that'll mean as a crawler, but the idea of not being able to like decompress and get away and have that
Uh-huh.
sanctuary
To
is,
disconnect from
yeah,
everything.
like,
Because sleep
and
is his only sanctuary. Yeah.
right, and like and it's part of the experience of being human. And now
Yeah.
he isn't, doesn't have to do that anymore. And a future upgrade will allow them to simply push a button and that counts as a full 8 hour rest or 10 hour rest. And they
Oh,
don't have to sleep at all. It's scary and weird to think about. Um, we get a recap. Um, Parts of the recap are redacted so that they can't see some of the features of the dungeon, which is new. Um, they're already drawing a map of all the different colored lines. That almost all the lines that they've seen so far are color named after colors. We learn more about some of the top 10 list people. We see the goat man, who I think we learn here his name is Prepotente.
I
We
love Prepotente
see
so much.
we see Lucia Marr, level 30, like ripping monsters apart with her bare hands, laughing. Um,
That is just
yeah, and so we're like further convinced Lucia Marr is insane. Um, and with all of their upgrades, they now have other routines they need to add in besides like the pedicure kit and the brushing. They can use a training room to develop a skill further. They need to be working on their crafting skills. They get to install all of their benches. And Mordecai's like, all right, I am your coach. I am your manager. We're going to get you going on all of this regiment. I have priority lists for all the skills I want you to work on. Make sure you're applying all your buffs. And it basically just shows them like developing like kind of a discipline, and taking their development of their skills more seriously, which is going to
hmm.
further juxtapose against other crawlers in the future who don't have these benefits and aren't keeping up with their training, um, and really kind of set our crawlers apart, but also kind of highlight when some other crawlers are not doing very well. It also explains a behavior that we're going to see the rest of the series, like the pedicure kit.
Yep.
Um, we get a daily announcement that explains that the stairwells here are only going to open within 6 hours of the collapse of the floor, which is another part of how the Iron Tangle works and the growing like increase of traps and monsters, like stronger and stronger monsters developing as time goes on, and it makes it so that like crawlers cannot escape, unlike
Right.
with the explosion from the last floor.
Yeah,
Um,
they like want to discourage crawlers from going down early. So
Yes, which
like
is scary
it
later.
really
Like we
is.
don't know how scary this is until much
Hmm.
later. Um but we've
No.
seen a lot of crawlers like have reasons for going down early, like with the elders from Meadowlark, like with the explosion from the Doomsday scenario. And so we know that like that's cutting off an option, but we won't know how bad this is for all the crawlers until much later.
Mm.
And finally, bounty season is open. Kill, kill, kill. Um, and then at the end of chapter 3, at the end of this kind of like orientation to the book and to this floor, we kind of get hit like a truck.
Yeah.
Carl notices this message from Brendan of Team Meadowlark, and that it is in a special folder, a folder for deceased crawlers. And Brendan's message basically articulates how he fell unable to reach a stairwell in time. He just didn't have enough time to get there and was fighting off monsters to help others escape.
Yeah.
He describes having a fight with Chris, his brother, who left the party and isn't accepting messages anymore, and that they had a huge falling out, and that Brendan loves him and wants Carl to tell him how much. And it's really sad. It's really
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
shocking. Yeah, I cried when I read this for
Yeah.
the second
It's
time. Yeah.
we get a couple things with this. So one, Brandon is saying like, I never told him I loved him. Could you please tell him for me? So then now this is a quest for Carl. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's like he's gonna find Chris, he's gonna deliver this
A
message.
very
But then we also
human
get
quest. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But then we also get a very brief blip of something to do with his mom. So he reads the message and this from a deceased crawler and tell my brother I love him and just very briefly like at the end of that he's like this is just like with mom. And then it moves
Mhm.
and we move completely away from that. So we know his mom is dead, or she would have been dead anyway, because the whole world is gone, right?
Right.
But we know that this is something that happened a while ago, and he's been carrying around this trauma. But this is another little bit of like that drip feed that we get
Yeah.
with, we got some of that in the last book with the circus, and we're
Mhm.
getting a little teeny
A
tiny
little
bit
bit
of it
more.
here. Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it will continue to develop. So
Yeah.
like
I think at this point we
there's big
know
stuff.
his parents didn't get along. His
Oh
dad
yeah.
and his dad's friends were all really shitty, really, really shitty. And Carl's mom tried to like escape the relationship with Carl, but then failed and then left on his birthday. I think is the extent we know at this point. We don't
Yeah.
know, I think, any more particulars. We will find out more particulars through this book, but yeah.
Yeah, so this is the first though. This is the first little tidbit. So
Yeah. But we can tell it really hits Carl because like the message from Brendan hits him hard, and then thinking about his mother like further like sets him into a panic almost. Like he has to tell himself to breathe. Um yeah. So like it's
yeah,
very little like the amount that Carl is willing to engage in his trauma is very little, and so we know very little about it.
yep.
Um, okay. So we move into the next set of chapters. Chapters 4 through 6, I wrote as Iron Tangle 201, the basics. Um,
Oh, training montage, mobs and
yeah.
robots,
Yes,
because it's just
training montage. Very good.
oh snap. But yeah, dude, these next chapters, like, not I'm not gonna say that we don't learn anything. We absolutely do.
We learn a
That's the beauty
lot.
of his writing. We learn a ton. But in terms of like big haha gotcha moments,
Yeah.
there weren't a ton of those happening
It's
here.
a lot of just exploring the trains and learning about the
Yeah,
mechanics of trains and what's going on with them that we don't need to get into. It was interesting. It was
we
fun to go along the ride.
we do meet Vernon. Vernon also fun for people who have listened to this on Audible. Vernon was not voiced by
Oh.
yeah, hang on. What was his name? It was like something, the professional drunk or something. Hang on. That's actually so it hang on.
The
Yeah, so narrated by the critical drinker. So it's narrated by Jeff Hayes and the critical drinker. And I don't know if this was just a
Mm.
friend of his or someone else who was a part of Sound Booth Theater, who has like a
Oh, okay.
different tag maybe, and they just kind of stepped in on this, or if this was like a friend maybe. But yeah, the voice of Vernon, the porter on the, or was he a porter? It doesn't matter. Vernon was
He's the
voiced by the critical
conductor.
drinker. The conductor, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so just a fun note. Um,
Yeah.
I like when they have guest stars.
Oh, that's really fun. I didn't listen to the audiobook of this one, so
Ah,
that's a
okay.
fun little fact. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think some of the interesting things, because the monsters are migrating on the trains, they just sit there and wait for trains to arrive the monsters can't leave the trains because of their like controlled behavior. So they just shoot them and kill them on the train from safety. But
Yep.
Carl realizes it's really inefficient and they're not learning much. So they move on. They get on trains and learn a lot about them. And while they're doing it, we see them practicing formations against monsters. We see Katya begin to improve in her integration with the party, but they're struggling like really close together in close quarters. And we just see them continue to improve on that, which feels like a nice, like slow, but consistent improvement for them. Carl, while he was doing their training and routine. Oh, there was one thing I forgot to mention. Sorry, this is really, really important that I forgot to mention from chapter 3. So they start getting into their routine and we see them doing the routine. Mordecai's like, hey, I want you to work on bare knuckle, or I want you to work on your smush skill. And he had just gotten the message from Brandon and tells Mordecai to fuck off. And he goes and practices bare knuckles instead. That was but anyway, we see the fruits of their labor here when Carl pulls out some stuff that he built during their training and work time. He built these like walls that deploy and fill in the space within the trains, which is really cool and further shows Carl's like ingenuity and engineering skills.
I do love that. Also, in these chapters, we learn what you had spoken about initially with the Iron Tangle and the mobs being addicted to drugs. That this is the set of chapters where we learn about that, and also there are these sort of tunnels, passageways, like where the mobs are sort of, I guess, utilizing or coming through. And there are these giant fuck off robots that are powered down. They're like it's like, I don't know, like Transformers. They're fucking enormous. They're absolutely huge. And Carl, of course, being Carl, is like, what would happen if we just blew him up? So they blow him up. And this is very purposeful because Carl is like, hey, for science, let's just see what happens. Which I love. And Katya kind of gets in on the action and she's like, yeah, why don't we clear all the mobs out of here too, for science. And she like winks at him. So she's kind of coming along here too. Like, so we see a little bit of growth there as far as like teamwork. But one of the best things that they do is when they blow up the robots, they're able to like collect a lot of scrap. And Carl is very pleased to have extra scrap to work with, like on his tables when they get back to the craft room. So some formative stuff happens in these ones, but mostly it's like they're becoming more cohesive, learning to work together as a team, calling out plays to each other, and
that cohesion, we see moments of that like growing and also like struggling. For example, in chapter 5, when they get to another stop with monsters, Carl's like, get ready to repel borders. And Donut's just like, this isn't a boat. We don't understand your pirate talk. It's annoying Mongo. Right. And Katya laughs at this and it just feels like, okay, she's joining in on the making fun and teasing Carl, which feels really good. But then like Donut is sharing information with Katya about them, like their location. And Carl is really nervous about Hekla because Audette had told him at the end of the last book that Hekla wants to poach Donut and might, try and set something up to screw over Carl. So there is this nagging, like worrying about Katya, who he and Audette don't think are in on it, but Carl is like stuck constantly. There's these moments where he's stuck between paranoia and safety and he's struggling to not like let on, and he's trying to save face and everything. And it's really good dramatic tension that isn't violent or dungeon related at all. It's really good. And then part of the reason that I think we also see some of the tension in Katya in chapter 6 is at one point Zev is like, you should ditch Katya. People find her really boring. And Donut's like, maybe if she makes herself more sexy, maybe bigger boobs like Audette.
So they give her
And
a
Zeb,
mohawk.
well, Zeb is like, do something. It's like when they added April to Gilmore Girls, but worse. And Donut's just like, oh no, I will help her.
I will help her. Yeah.
So there's like this other thing that Katya needs to work on if she's going to be again of value, which is a point of tension for them. And Donut gets bought in further to helping her out, and
Well, I
then
mean, it's one of the like taglines from the first book. It's like the end of the world will be televised, you know? So
mhm,
it's like you gotta keep up your appeal if you want people to keep tuning in,
yeah, and
which is
then
bullshit.
there's this brief moment where Carl's like, this is unimportant. We don't need Katya to change. Which is ironic because he's constantly trying to get her to change in
Yeah.
different ways.
Yes.
But Donut's like, this is important, Carl. We shouldn't avoid difficult conversations because they're uncomfortable. So we're seeing like
I love
Donut and
that.
Carl not being on the same page about some things. But
Well,
Donut's
and
very
not only
diplomatic. Yeah.
Donut is being diplomatic about it, but what's great, I think, also about that, and I think it happens in this set of chapters, but like she's like like you're forcing her to change,
Mhm.
but only as you see
Yeah.
it, as it benefits benefits her race or whatever. Like she's like you've been telling her to be herself, but like you're
Oh, I've got
forcing her to
notes on
change
that.
too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And at the end
I
of
love it.
at the end of chapter 6, they get contacted by Batista, the lion tiger man, that they had
Hmm.
fucked over, but who was really nice to them. I love Batista. I
I
think
love
he's one of
Batista
my
too.
favorites. But he's like, hey, I'm at Desperado Club and there's some people from a place called Meadowlark that want to talk to you. Do you want to like stop by and connect with them? Because Carl realized Brendan was the only person he had initiated chat with, and he's dead now. So he had lost the ability to connect with
Yeah.
anyone from Meadowlark. So this is really important to reconnect with them. And Donut is like, Mama's going dancing tonight. So chapters 7 through 9 felt like they were the set of chapters in the first half of the book that actually kind of like separate us from the Iron Tangle while we do some other really important stuff. So this set of chapters, I just wrote like support structures, just because a lot of like the people and items they have and the resources at their fingertips that are very important shift dramatically here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for chapter 7, I wrote play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
What did
Um,
I write? Oh, let me find my cool note. Oh, for chapter 7, all kind of lished in together. So I'm just gonna, I
actually,
think
kind of all of these chapters are play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
they really are. Mine was just a quote, and it's "you motherfucker," and that's
Yes,
like,
that comes at about halfway through chapter 7.
oh
I'll
man,
let you cover that part. Let me get through the first half of the chapter.
yeah,
So
let's do it.
Mongo hits level 15. Mongo has reached max size. He will continue to level, but he's reached max size. He gains this earthquake ability, so when he's like jumps and lands near enemies, there's a chance he can like stun them. He
Love an
proceeds to
earthquake.
start jumping up and down next to them, and they all have to leap away and take cover. It's
That's a
very
fun away
funny.
from him.
And we are. This is like the umpteenth time Carl points out, like, I hope we never have to face Mongolianises. And we're like, he keeps bringing it up, so it has to happen now. It's like
It's gonna
it's
at some
Chekhov's
point.
gun. It's Chekhov's
Yeah,
Mongo.
it is Chekhov. The
A gun
timer's
a
going
gun
off
has
before the end of this
appeared.
goddamn play.
It
Yeah,
must go
absolutely.
off. Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Um Carl and Katya have a cute chat about their world travel, and it just feels like them bonding. It's really cute. They arrive in the safe room, and Mordecai like starts shooing them away from the alchemy room for fear of contamination of stuff he's making. Which one of them is a really important item called Mordecai's Special Brew. It's an item he created. The description starts a potion designed by a shifty changeling, and basically provides 30 seconds of really strong ongoing healing. But it's a potion that can only ever be used twice in the entire dungeon per crawler. So it's a really powerful tool that Mordecai provides them. He also makes some potions that boost Donut's constitution and provides Carl with these balls that eventually he'll be able to put potions in and fire with his Chistera, further expanding his options of ammunition for that. Mordecai then informs them that he has figured out a major piece of the rail system, but first he wants them to open their fan boxes. Donut gets a saddle from her fans to put on Mongo, which is really cute and has some huge benefits, but her constitution's too goddamn low. She'll be too vulnerable. But it's really funny. And then we get to Carl's prize. Do you want to take over this?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. So what we see is it's basically a carousel that like he opens it up and like the lights go down and it's almost like he's on a game show, and this presenter comes out and his name is Chaco, and
the bard.
Chaco is a song bard. Yeah, absolutely. And he's like a giant handsome wolf man with big muscles and like a nice suit on, and he's like, well, hello, and he's like playing to the crowd. So we know that this is something that has happened previously in other dungeons or wherever, maybe even on other floors during this particular dungeon. And this is a show within a show. And he's like, well, hey, everybody, I'm your man, Chaco. And he's like playing to the crowd. So we see a carousel pop up. And he's like, we have none fabulous prizes. And oh, shit, Mordecai. And Mordecai notices Chaco and he's like, you motherfucker. And he picks up a chair with his toad tongue. We didn't talk about this, but Mordecai is now a toad. He's no longer sexy Mordecai.
He is gross Mordecai.
Toad Mordecai. And he grabs the chair with his tongue and he fucking whips it at Chaco. Chaco's crouched down, cowering in fear. And we know what happens when you attack someone in a safe room, and Mordecai gets a naughty and he gets a timeout. And we essentially lose Mordecai.
This is so bad.
7 days when they only
7
have
days. 10 total,
days.
And it's already been like a day and a half.
Already been a day and a half. Exactly. So they're losing them right up to the bitter end. And it's maybe one of my very favorite pieces of narration that Jeff Hayes has ever done, when he's just like, you motherfucker. It's so fucking unexpected, and it just came out of left field, and it was hilarious. But big consequences from this one.
It's super ironic because he was just about to tell us something major about the rail system that he had figured out.
Son of a bitch. So as a result of this, we lose Mordecai. You know, Carl's doing he's adding shit up in his head, and he's like, are you always the one who presents this show? And who are you to Mordecai? And he's like, hey man, it's not my story to tell, and I gotta do this or I'm gonna get in more trouble. And so, you know, we learn like, okay, Chaco was obviously another crawler at one point, and he has very thick history with Mordecai, which we will learn about at some point.
Yes, we don't.
But
we don't
not
get
right now.
much. We basically
learn
on
with the show.
This is yet another character that feels very sorry for Mordecai and who made a hard choice that fucked him over, but was necessary from their point of view. It's like basically the same thing Odette has told us is she fucked him over for his benefit, and she regrets it. Kind of.
I mean, I think I do think that she regrets it. If you know, like, because it's something that we've seen or will see or something that we can imagine, right? It's like when you lose the people who matter most to you, then what's the point of how do you keep going? How do you find other things to go on for? And I really think that we're getting a sense that like the whole reason why Mordecai keeps going is for revenge. That's like that or comeuppance or payback or something. That's what's been churning in his gut for however many hundreds of years he's been in the dungeon.
I don't know.
And he has a plan.
I think it's to help as many people get out as possible, because
I don't. Maybe at some point it becomes that, but I don't think that's his main motivation. I truly think that the man is living for revenge.
Mm,
Um, and I think that Chaco played a part in that, like you said. But yeah,
yeah.
so we also the countdown keeps going, and we have to pick a new prize.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is this
He's.
is the fan box portion of it. The viewers voted to allow Carl to pick his own prize, thus
Yeah.
summoning Chaco into their safe room and fucking with Mordecai. So someone knew about it.
Yeah.
They're
Someone's
trying to.
trolling. Yeah.
Yeah, this was very purposeful. They're trying to fuck with Carl. Yeah,
Um,
and Donut.
uh, Among the prizes are potions, explosives, and a number of books. There is also literally Carl's dad's motorcycle, which has
Yeah,
a dent in it that Carl himself caused, which triggers him, and he is reflecting on his dad's abuse as retaliation for the dent, which we of course move past extremely quickly,
yep.
both because of the time pressure to pick a prize and also Carl's suppression of his trauma.
No moss on that stone.
Uh-huh.
Just,
We see Carl's tool chest from his work, like his actual
yep.
tool chest, but he suspects that it's empty because the drawers are closed, but in reality they were overfilled and he was never able to close some of the shelves
Yeah.
or the drawers. So,
He
but then
reflects
he,
that there was a carton of cigarettes in their -1 pack that we knew that he had with him when he entered the
uh-huh.
dungeon. And he's like, oh, if I could get my hands on that. But he's like, it's just going to be an empty fucking tool chest. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
And then there is a book with an A on it that catches his eye, and he can't tell if it's because of the carousel turning and gold foil on the pages, or if the system is glinting the item at him the way it did with the Reaper case.
Yeah.
But he goes, "All right, sure, I'll take that." It's a cookbook. It is called the
Goddamn
Dungeon
cookbook in the whole
Anarchist
universe.
Cookbook, and has a very silly description that's just like a silly cookbook with fun stories for the whole
How to cook
family.
goblins and gnomes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Carl's just
It's
like,
like,
"Oh, I fucked up. I fucked up so bad." But this hits differently because we know that this prize is the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, which is the title of this book. And so we know, even though Carl is reacting this way, this must be important. So I think it just plays a little differently than maybe it would if the title of the book were different.
and we get a cool haptic buzz feature that only
Yeah.
Carl is
Yeah, his
and it,
escape plan ability that lets him notice like
uh-huh.
signs that are only available to like employee, like, guides and certain NPCs and
Yep.
managers and stuff. But yeah, he gets a separate description of the book from his escape plan. If you're reading this, it means the book has found its way into your hands for one purpose and one purpose only. Together, we will burn it all to the ground.
Fuck yes.
Ah!
Oh, I know. It's so
Ah!
great.
Yes,
Oh man.
nudging Carl to more anarchy, which is great.
And P.S. That's all just chapter 7. Can you fucking believe it?
It's a
Anyway,
lot.
sorry.
It's a lot going
It's
on.
so
Yeah,
good.
it's really good. So yeah, chapter 8 is basically them coming to terms with Mordecai being gone, checking out the cookbook, and going to meet Team Meadowlark at the Desperado Club. So
Yep.
it starts with the cookbook, which Carl, like, in plain view, looks at the book, and it's basically like, this is a book that has been created during a number of seasons for specific crawlers. It has been passed down and is generated under certain circumstances. The showrunners and chat cannot see its true contents. You must write your knowledge in it to continue to have access to it. It's not against the rules to have this, but this item will protect itself, the knowledge within, and knowledge of its existence. It will disappear upon your death or its discovery. Your actions are not invisible. You must act like the knowledge you glean from this comes naturally. I wrote here the Imitation Game. Have you seen that movie? With
I have.
so it's like Alan Turing and him like figuring out the cipher code and building a machine to break the Enigma code during the Second World War.
I did see that. Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
they figured out that's
yes.
like the only German that they.
Bloody Heil Hitler, or Heil
Yeah,
Bloody Hitler. Yeah.
yeah,
But
that's the only German that
yeah.
it turns out they needed to fucking know.
Uh-huh.
That was
And
a good movie.
it's the most amazing, like they have solved it, and then the general's like, well, we can't use the information or the Germans will know we broke their code.
Yep.
So we have to like be picky and choosy about how we do this. So it's like, here is a wealth of knowledge you must like be extremely careful how you use.
Yeah, dude. That is exactly like yes, thank you. That is a perfect yes.
It's like
he has to make it seem like he just happened upon it, or like while he's tooling around on his table, he's like, what if I put this in my bomb?
Some creative ways Carl finds to acquire the knowledge and make it look spontaneous or provided in the future. But this is incredible. And amazingly enough, we don't have a lot of time to sit with it because Carl is standing out in the open. And it's just told him he can't spend a lot of time with it. So we move on to, there's a recap. Mordecai's not there. Carl runs to the bathroom to read more chapters of the book. It's neatly organized by topics like alchemy and explosives, knowledge about monsters, and just other general knowledge, which is great because these are organized in ways that are very useful to Carl. And he slams the book shut saying, I knew if I kept reading, I'd never stop. And I wrote, I know the feeling. I can't stop reading these books.
It feels that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, oh man.
But so we kind of have this ex deus machina of knowledge that is going to feel like a slow burn and feel timely. And I don't think it'll feel out of place because it has this huge cost and drawback in secrecy. So even though it's incredible and is going to give us like a way to access new knowledge and characters and learn about the dungeon from a new angle, it is self-restricting, which is neat as a plot device.
So good.
Yeah. It also gives Carl as a character. Carl seems very capable, and now Matt Dinniman can write a new way that Carl has acquired the knowledge that makes it feel like Carl isn't overpowered as a person. Yeah. So this accomplishes a lot really quickly and neatly.
Without like, and also it with the overpowered and giving him like this base of knowledge, but also like this is, I think, the beginning of, and we'll see it in like some other chapters, but like it's a community for Carl. These other crawlers who have the other authors of this cookbook, he
commiserates with them.
He feels kinship with them. I think he's like, oh my God, these are my people. But yeah, dude, oh God, the cookbook.
It validates a lot of feelings for him.
Yes. It's like, how can everybody just be okay with it? Well, they're not. They're fucking not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's
awesome. They move forward. They increase the priority of connecting with other crawlers to crowdsource information, because now that they don't have Mordecai, they need to learn from other people and share. Katya wants to join the Desperado Club, but Carl suggests Vanquisher instead, just to diversify their resources. So they leave without her. Katya stays behind to do some more training and work and stuff, which we'll see in a minute. They get to the Desperado Club, where they meet with one of Mordecai's former colleagues, who like is not surprised that Mordecai, when he ran into the bard Chaco, wound up where he wound up. And apparently management has offered to sell protection to Carl and Donut in the form of some bodyguards. The bouncer's like, normally it's just a ripoff, but for you two being top 10 crawlers and who you are, I think it would actually be worth it. So we meet two new characters. They're bodyguards, Bomo and the Sledge.
I love them.
They're
Yep.
amazing. They're just dummy. Like, I think Boma or the Sledge is a rock person, or are both a rock person. I don't remember.
They're like rock cretins. I think it's how, or cretin, cretin, I think. But yeah, that's their race, and they're just big rock monsters, and they're enormous. And Donut takes a shine to them.
Yeah, oh yeah, she loves them.
Yeah.
We'll see the reasons why and how later, but yeah. So they walk up to the bar, and there's Ellie McGibbons, a tiny frost woman that they spend like half a page describing as absolutely gorgeous and otherworldly and beautiful and serene, and how she's like she's still there even though she's so different. Look how beautiful.
Literally says, yeah.
I got the quote right here. Look at how beautiful she is, Donut whispered. She's like a vision of pure elegance. Yo, Ellie cried at a bartender. Whose dick do I gotta suck to get another drink? Christ. Hey, princess, I called out. This one's on me. Elle didn't turn. Look, needle dick. Buzz off. Or when my real bodyguard gets back, she's going to add another skull next to her name tag. And then she turns around and sees it's Carl. And she like embraces them and thanks them for saving her and the others. And it's just so sweet and amazing. And the mouth on that woman.
I love Elle. Oh my God, I love Elle McGibbons. Like, she's my hero. I think I want to be her when I grow up. I want to become a 99-year-old woman, and then I want to get turned into a frost maiden so that I can like be ethereal and beautiful and float on air and say the foulest, most disgusting shit.
Yeah. So
they shouted at a bartender. Oh, I love her.
So they chat with her. They learn about her race and class choices, which was apparently informed because that her race, I think, also gets a manager. And Brandon had just learned about managers from Carl because he had texted Brandon like a little bit early in the third floor while they were still doing all that. So that actually was a huge impact of Carl's text. But they learn more about the fallout with Brendan and Chris, but well, not really. They just kind of recap it. And then Imani appears. She's this beautiful, skull-faced, gaunt, bodied, but with like this huge, ethereal, beautiful, like translucent wings. She's a healer support class. I
love that too. And her wings are translucent. Like they're almost, or rather, like they're non-corporeal.
They're ethereal.
They go through the columns and other crawlers, and like she can just walk right through them. Like her wings will pass through them. Yeah.
And they provide buffs. Like Carl noted, like I don't know if there's like any sensation he feels at first, but later he'll get buffed by them. But yeah, Donut goes dancing while they chat more. And Carl, while Donut like goes to the dance floor with Bomo and the Sledge, realizes that he has become more paranoid of fellow crawlers than he is of like monsters, because he's like worried someone will do something to Donut. But then Imani shares more about Chris. Apparently his personality changed when he also became a rock person. And after a few days on the third floor, Chris and Brandon started fighting. Chris wanted to hunt and kill a lot and insisted that Carl was very close to their location, and wanted to go meet with Carl. Yeah, it's very weird. And then Chris left the party and took a bunch of other people with him that are now all dead, and Chris is unresponsive. I think that what is on the page, reading it for the first time, adds like intrigue and mystery and like another, plot thread to follow. Having reread this after having read other books and knowing what's going on, all I'm going to say is it's all here. It's all, everything we need to know has already been told to us here and in other scenes in the other books.
Absolutely.
And it's really good.
But I do think that there is something to be said about the personality change because we see Elle too.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
she went from
It
being like
is.
this very teeny tiny little 99-year-old like, you know, mush for brains senior citizen to like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, she's like, there's like 5 real people in here. Jesus Christ. Like just screaming at the
Yeah.
bartender, you know, throwing back shots of Everclear at the bar, or like the Dungeons versions of Everclear. And she's like, oh, me and my Barry used to get blackout drunk on this shit. I'm like, holy crap. And he's like, oh my God, I wonder if this is like what a young Ellie was like, or if you know, has being a frost maiden changed her. So
Right. Well, and we've seen I think Lucia Marr was
yeah,
kind of, you know, a little loco to begin with, but then she became this like the Logibless, which
yeah,
is like demonic in nature, and you know, she seems to be going off the rails, pun
yeah.
intended.
It's
Um
but uh
Yeah. So they're chatting. They connect with fist bumps, which initiates the chat. Um, and they start to talk about like how they're gonna like delegate tasks for figuring out the Iron Tangle. And they were gonna look at Carl or Mordecai's map that he had been drawing. When
mhm.
Donut, there's a bunch of screaming, and Donut's cockroach ability activates. She is at 1 hit point. There is a dead crawler next to her, and she has a skull over her head.
Poor Donut. She
Or
just
Donut.
this scene really like so okay, so like Carl goes flying in. You know what I mean? He's like assessing the situation. He's looking at all of the other crawlers who are surrounding Donut. He gets to her. He's like, "Jump up on my shoulder, heal yourself."
Yeah.
And
He's like
like
treating anyone
she
and
just
everyone as hostile. Like he doesn't know how
and he's
anyone,
got
like
his
the
gauntlet
staff will
formed.
react. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
He doesn't know if they're
intense.
going to get kicked out. It is very intense. And like, and the whole time, like while he's in protect mode, Donut's like crying, like sobbing on his
Mm-hmm.
shoulder. And she's still drunk because she had a couple of cherries from a dirty Shirley. And she's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Nobody's going to like me now. And I didn't want to kill anybody, not a real person. Like,
Yeah,
and he
she's
remarks on like
panicking.
how yeah, like he also remarks on like, you know, how complex of a creature she's becoming because like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, she was never human. She was never human. She wasn't human and became this. She'd always been a cat until the dungeon changed her and she's still
Yeah,
transforming. Like she
her
doesn't bat an eye at
emotional complexity is just growing
yes.
deeper, and even though like even though, and we learn this like in a few moments, but like this person tried to kill her, and she is
Yeah.
feeling remorseful over her actions even though someone tried to kill
Yeah.
her. The full quote: "I didn't want to kill anybody," she said again, "maybe those stupid dogs, but not a person, not a real person."
Yeah.
It's her. I don't know. It's very funny how it's like
I
her.
think it's an
She's
interesting
being
distinction.
sincere.
Yeah, it's an interesting distinction. She says not a person, not a real person. So she's
Yeah,
making a distinction between like
it's a snarky
crawlers like
comment that's
herself
not intended to
and
be snarky.
NPCs.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, oh man,
Yeah.
that scene really because
Um,
she was having a great time. She was dancing on the sludge's shoulder,
yeah, which
and there
is
was like
really
a circle
cute.
that had formed around her. But the scene's not over.
No. So one
We
other thing
get
that happens
yeah.
that I find really remarkable, and I noted, is Imani and Elle also rush in, no questions asked, no hesitation. They are there to protect Carl and Donut. They are willing to
Absolutely.
go to bat again and get kicked out of Desperado. Like they know the consequences and they jump to action
Yep.
anyway. And there's just this real sense that they are trust, like we have implicit trust here.
Yes. Yeah.
uh Donut points out like another assassin who Elle kills without hesitation, earning her first player kill, and she does it without batting an eye, and in fact immediately calls dibs on the gear, which
Yeah.
makes her
Yes.
kind of scary, and
Oh, I
a
love
little
her.
monstrous. And Elle
I
shouting
love
like,
that about
anyone else
her.
want to try something? You come for Donut or Carl, you come for all of us. I will freeze your blood in your veins and make your genitals shatter like glass. And then she like, another crawler staring at her. She's like, that's right, it's over, she called. You giving me the hairy eye? Back the fuck up.
Man, I love
And
her.
Carl's reaction, I was starting to see why Elle was in the top 10 and Amani wasn't. Elle's
God, but
scary.
Elle is scary, but she's a bad motherfucker. Oh man,
Yeah,
yeah. And
and
this is
then
like
in the
perfect, you know?
same scene, Elle is like reassuring Donut alongside Carl, like emotionally, like you know,
Yeah.
it's okay, you did what you had to do. Morally, they were like, you know, you did the right thing, you'd be dead if you hadn't. And socially, they're reassuring her. Elle's like, this was gonna happen eventually, now they know not to fuck with you.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, this is just an amazing scene for Elle, even though it's all about Donut.
Yep.
Yeah. And so nothing else happens. They did kill the second assassin. And then we see a couple shadowy figures. One of them disappears, and the assistant manager, Astrid, appears. This extremely high level non combatant blood fairy sort of character, which kind of
Oh
was
no, no.
shocking.
She's not a non-combatant
Didn't it say
NPC.
she's non
That
combatant?
yeah. You said this non-combatant NPC or this
She,
non-combatant character comes out.
yeah,
Yeah. So no.
she,
So this is the thing. When they did her intro, this is one of the things that I like immediately was like whenever like when I read this was like, okay, so like she's a bloodlust sprite and she's really rare, but like when they're doing this is a fairy class NPC. NPCs of this class inflict 20% more damage against you due to your goblin class, blah 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 blah. But then Carl is like level 125. Holy shit. I also noted the lack of the usual. This is a
oh, the
non-combatant
lack.
NPC in her
Oh, I'm
description.
sorry. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So she
So it's
is,
like
yeah, she's
this
scary.
NPC will fucking tear you up.
Uh-huh. So
So,
yeah, she's a really interesting character. We're definitely going to see her more in future books, but um she has this really interesting like admission of responsibility and mistake and failure on the part of the Desperado Club to have protected them when they had paid for protection. But she also
mhm.
is very stern and confident in a way that like she does not lose her edge in her admission of failure. Uh
Right.
yeah, it's really something the way that she's written.
She's an interesting character. I like her a lot.
Yeah. Um
She's very like I'm not taking anybody's shit, and I really
no.
appreciate that about her.
So
Um,
she offers, this is really funny. She offers to refund them what they paid for the security. Clarabelle, the bouncer, had charged them 500 gold, but she offers them 400, and they realize Clarabelle had cheated them 100 gold.
oh yeah.
And Astrid offers them ongoing security for free in perpetuity, which is cool.
And then
And
Carl does a smart thing.
yeah, he's like, hey, Bomo and Sledge, we'd consider it a personal favor if you did not like punish them. In fact, we'd like to keep them on as guards. And Astrid has like this cunning response that further adds to her sharp edge. She's like, yeah, it is not your place to say that so and so, but I will grant you this favor. She like
Uh-huh.
puts Carl in his place and maintains her position of power and authority while granting them this request. And
Yeah.
Carl is like, you know, if these two guys get fired, the other NPCs will hate us, and they would
Yep.
be like other NPCs who might be protecting us as bodyguards in the future. We'd rather they be grateful to us and be able to trust them and everyone else that is their friend.
Yep.
And it really pays off dividends later, as we'll see.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So they continue their conversation with Elle and Imani about the Iron Tangle. They learn some information. They delegate tasks and split up. And then Carl heads to the casino because he has this like 100,000 gold chip for the high roller section of the casino, which is now open.
Oh God.
Yeah, he sees some other stairwells to the hunting grounds, and I think this is the first time we see this name, Laracos, the ninth
Yes.
floor, where the faction war will take place. But he heads to the casino. He has a choice between the roulette table and the Wheel of Fortune. He doesn't like gambling games, so he just goes with Wheel of Fortune. He meets this really interesting I think a one-off character, the croupier of the Wheel of Fortune, who introduces the wheel, which is like 50% good rewards and 50% really bad rewards. But because the chip is worth so much, it removes most of the bad outcomes, except for nothing exclamation mark and gets stabbed in the stomach by the croupier. And there's all these moments where the croupier is like just really excited. Like he shows us the knife as he's explaining, like, yeah, your chip removes all the bad outcomes, and he's like this, or is this going to be the one that's that sticks around? And he's like, no, while holding the knife. It's great. So while Carl is spinning, he sees someone else roll the nothing exclamation mark, which Carl assumed just meant nothing happens, but in fact a void opens up, and these like hands come out and grab the person and pull them into a void, and they just disappear.
Yep.
And it freaks
So
Carl
the
out.
nothing is a level. It's a level.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. So it like a hole opens up and they fall into the nothing, which is what, like the 15th floor or something like that.
Did they say what it is? I didn't get that.
Oh yeah, like let me hang on. Nothing.
Yeah, let me look.
I just wanna...
This feels kind of important. What happens if
Here
I
we
land on
go.
nothing? Tito. Oh, the croupier's name is Tito. Yeah, the nothing sure is something. I watch on horror. Blah blah blah.
Additional ethereal screams emanated from the hole, and a ghostly clawed arm rose up from the darkness before turning into smoke and dissipating. The trapdoor slammed shut. But yeah, I don't know if we learn about it here, but I'm reasonably sure that the nothing is like
an
much
area in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. This is not striking as familiar to me, so I think we might learn that later. That's okay though. Carl ends up getting another scroll of equipment upgrade, which improves his toe ring and gives him strength and powerful strike. Blah blah blah. So they head out. So it's the next like 5 chapters 10 through 14, where they start to get into some advanced iron tangle. I wrote Iron Tangle 301, advanced tangling. But it also comes with some other, probably the most important scenes in this book. It's pretty fucking crazy. So they return to their personal space to find Hecla and the other Brynhild, or daughters of Brynhild, there. Katya has let them all in. Carl is freaking out. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry.
No, yeah. So
I'm jumping ahead.
So what happens?
They return to find Hecla, but it is Katya imitating Hecla. Yep. I'm getting myself mixed up here.
It's okay.
Which shows that she's improving at the skill. Apparently, the system is registering her as like a 65% match. She would be able to change her, like the system ID, to label her as Hecla if she reaches a 90% match. So getting there, but not quite there. Hecla sees the PvP skull over Donut's head and asks about it. And Donut kind of plays it off very cool.
Katya.
She's like,
sorry, you said Hecla, but it's Katya.
I'm sorry, Katya. I'm getting myself mixed up now. So Katya asks, and Donut plays it off very cool. Is like, oh, nothing. So, I fucked that guy up. It's not a big deal. And it feels like she's putting her mask on, because I can't imagine that she's over it yet. But
oh God, no.
It's left ambiguous, which I like. So they continue training and working at their tables. Carl he pulls an idea from a cookbook, which he's been sneaking to the bathroom to read because the cameras will not watch him in the bathroom. And he basically constructs a landmine that he learned about from the cookbook. Donut tries to ride Mongo using the what's it called? The not the harness,
the saddle.
The saddle, but Mongo bucks her off, and we get a very funny scene of them all laughing at Donut, and Donut certain that she and Mongo have a psychic connection and that it'll be fine. And then Mongo continues kicking her off. It's very funny.
Like flinging her off, like as soon as she sits in the saddle, like a little translucent like strap like
Yeah.
goes across her lap or whatever. But like he's bucking so hard that she just like goes. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I love it.
Meadowlark reports back that they've investigated some of the stops that the monsters are migrating to. There's a bunch of bosses, including Krakeran clones. And
Yeah.
I think this is where they learn more about like, yeah, there's like the monsters are getting strung out on drugs.
Yeah.
There's more pet. So I think it was here I started to notice that Elle was giving Carl lots of pet names. So I went back and then I kept an eye out throughout the rest of the book. And here's the list of pet names that
Yes.
Elle gives Carl. The first one we heard, Needle Dick, when she didn't realize it was him.
Right.
She calls him my friend Carl. She calls him Hot Shot a couple times. She calls him Stud, Big Guy, and Naughty Boy throughout the book. And then I started noticing she was saying this like every time as like her hello to Carl. And then there were times where she wasn't saying it. And it felt like, things are too serious and tense right now with what is going on with them. Which makes sense because a lot of moments where she's not giving pet names, she's like actively fighting or defending or doing stuff. But yeah, this was the moment I decided to make a list because she, in the same interaction, called him Stud and Big Guy here.
Love that.
So I will be keeping a running list of all the pet names.
Perfect.
Okay, we get to chapter 11, which I labeled Trainwreck.
Yep.
Yeah, they use the landmine to derail a train because they learned from the conductor that they met, Vernon, that a engineer who has a special key that they need will only come out upon derailment of the train from their locked, magically protected cabin.
And we get to see I was going to say, and we get to see the Mantar,
which you can see right here on the cover.
On the cover of the book. Yeah.
This is the engineer. So the description includes, while it's not exactly a feat of engineering worthy of a Queen Elizabeth Prize, you finally managed to manufacture a train derailment. Let's hope this doesn't set off some sort of unforeseen domino effect that will ripple throughout the rest of the floor, leading to mass confusion and death amongst you and your fellow crawlers. And Carl responds to this description of the achievement as, that was ominous.
Yep.
and it is exactly what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the Mantar comes out. It is a half man, Altar.
Altar.
Yeah, so they have two torsos. They have this t-shirt, welcome to the gun show, with 4 arrows pointing at 4 arms. The engineer Mantar comes out and is in fact very helpful. He treats them like they were passengers and like, you need to get to safety. Please stay clear of the area. We will seek refuge over there at the Club Vanquisher. And it turns out he is like a worshiper of God and takes his work on the train as a religious sacred duty. And it's very funny and weird, and it just gives the Mantar a lot of personality. And it's very fun. And as they're talking to the Mantar and asking questions, other trains are slamming into the back of this derailed train. But they're busy charming the Mantar and getting him to spill more beans about how everything works, which he does. And then he heads into Club Vanquisher. Carl reflects on how lucky they are that they have these sets of skills that allow them to glean all this information. And wonders like, how would crawlers figure out any of this stuff? The TLDR of what they learn is like, if you get to the end of the line, there's a portal that's very deadly unless you have an engine car, which is safe to be in and go through, and will take you back to the start at the train yard where the lines begin. But they ultimately learn that like there's this catch-22 of, in order to be safe, you need to get in the engine car, which means you need an engineering key. but you can't get it without derailing the train. So then how do you ride the train? And then Katya is very clever and explains, well, why don't we just take one of those special trains that meets up with the same track further, and we'll catch a train that is still in operation ahead of the collision. And it's just this cool
Right.
moment of Katya being like smart and clever and cool, and shows her capability. And then one of the clerics at Club Vanquisher had snitched them out, and the Mantar comes back and engages in a boss battle.
Lil bitch. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it turns out that the Mantars worship Gruul, the god of war, which is the same god that Maestro has sponsored, or did sponsor, and that Carl's gauntlet has a small chance of summoning the god of upon hitting the worshippers of that god.
But the best part about this is that we didn't know it was a cumulative chance.
Yes, yeah.
So
we have a fun fight here where we learn that.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Carl derails a train and almost summons a god.
Yes.
Which they
So
have no hope of fighting because
yeah,
apparently on the fourth floor, gods are like
gods are
invulnerable.
invulnerable until they reach, I think, the 12th floor,
Is it the 12th floor? Yeah, something like that. So
which
yeah,
is the
just
celestial ascendancy floor. Anyway,
absolutely
it's
fucked.
a
Yeah.
tough fight. This is a really tanky boss that they are kind of they end up beating, but it's risky. Mongo nearly dies. Carl discovers that every time he hits it, it's a 1.5% chance cumulative. So the second hit is a 3% chance, 4.5. He gets up to 10.5. Katya gets her arm cut off, although it's mostly mass and ends up actually just being fingers that get cut off.
Yeah.
Carl gets choked out and activates his protective shell, which pushes the Mantar away, but because the Mantar has him, it pulls him out of it. It doesn't work, which is really fun, like protective shell not being this total cheat code. Carl nearly dies, but ends up nearly summoning the god and killing. I think he pushes the Mantar onto the live wire that
Onto the
powers the
third rail.
trains, which
Yeah.
hurts him further as well. Like the current passes through them both. And so he nearly dies, but they survive and they get sponsored right at the end of the chapter.
Sponsors are a big fucking
Yeah, this
deal.
is huge.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It advances some of our like political intrigue and macroscopic lens of the story because Carl is being sponsored by the Valte, Borant's biggest competitor, and the people ready to seize the crawl if they should fail. Donut is sponsored by Princess Donatia of the Prism, who is kind of politically motivated by the death of Manasa, the Valte singer. Carl becomes very worried by these sponsorships that Borant's going to want to kill them even quicker and wants to make sure that they are worth more alive than dead. Donut starts thinking about naming her fans, either the Princess Patrol. Carl suggests donut holes. It's very funny. They get the engineer key and the neighborhood map. They see the whole line with the map. They see monsters everywhere. We learn Katya lost some of her fingers. She feels like part of her is gone. I'm losing myself. She says, whereas Carl has been feeling this more figuratively.
Yeah.
Carl tells her his mantra, don't let them break you, but she is kind of unconvinced and not feeling it the way Carl's feeling it. But Carl resolves to get her built up to become 90% metal and 10% flesh instead of the opposite, which she is now. Katya also received a sponsorship. She tells us that she was sponsored by a princess as well. Princess Formidable of the Skull Empire. Fuck. Another Skull Empire character. God damn it. Not another one. So we get the sense that
yeah,
this
we
is
don't know the
bad.
motivation.
Yeah, this feels bad. This feels like they're targeting Carl through Katya. And who knows, like, are they going to motivate Katya to kill Carl or something? Who knows? We don't know anything at this point. Um, they decide they want to get to the end of the line, but with this line busted, they don't have a way to get down. And Katya like has been taking over Mordecai's mapping, and she is the one to figure out like a 12 transfer path to get to
Yes.
this another point on the line that they're currently on and have the key for to get through the portal at the end. And so it's just her being clever again. It also will only take hours instead of days to do it.
To get to
But
the end of the, yeah.
yeah, but they have to get on a terrible sounding special train called the Nightmare Express. Um, and no, they have to get on the Dismemberment Limited train. They had previously seen the Nightmare Express. So they head out. While they're waiting, Elle reveal. Oh, this is when we learn Krakaren is drip feeding drugs to the monsters.
Yeah.
Carl realizes that this is a method of control of the living beings that are the monsters. And that he realizes like the Borant perspective of like the logistical nightmare of trying to control the behavior of biological beings that you can't directly control. And so he realizes that this whole system must be a form of controlling behavior.
Yeah.
And they are starting to realize that something will happen if they don't get their drug fix. The monsters will change if they don't get their drug fix in time. And we're like, it's a callback to the derailment achievement that they just got, the train reaction, if you will. Yeah. So the Dismemberment Limited line arrives. It's a really gross and intense scene where they enter into this kind of like big train, like storage train car that also has the driver in it. And they basically provided a quest where they have to like survive for 19 minutes and protect the driver from being captured.
Don't let him die.
By like living skin monsters that just want to find a skeleton to control. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but it's disgusting and gross and
so gross
and tense. The quest is like protect the guy and you'll get a box, and otherwise if you fail you will become a flesher, which is further horrifying. Carl uses his like wall apparatuses that he constructed, which turn out to be totally clutch. And we see Donut using a spell that she had gotten earlier and has been practicing. And basically this like war mage who's controlling all the fleshers is like talking to them and attacking with spells against the wall. And Carl calls out like, we'll do this play, special 1, special 2. No, we'll do special 3. So Donut opens a hole. He reaches in, pulls the head through of the war mage, and they close the hole, decapitating him. And Carl just like shouts at this guy like, I didn't hear you, motherfucker. What'd you say, bitch? And it's like a really intense, prideful moment for him.
I love it.
Yeah, but you know, they get out of a very harrowing situation once again.
And then like, of course, like they win, right? They get the box and everything, but like the conductor is so like, he's just like for the whole rest of the ride, he says he's just like, oh my god, oh you did it.
Yeah,
oh my god.
He's like, I forget his name, but it's like Frenchie the Seventh or something. Like he had been failed 7 times, and if it reached 12, something really bad would happen. So there's lots of mechanics going on to like fuck over crawlers. In fact, 7 times people had died on this exact train doing this exact quest. So yeah, the named trains are really bad. Zev, we start chapter 13 with Zev checking in about how great the head hole decapitation was really popular, but that she wants Carl to use his trademark line, which we haven't heard in several days. And she has like another show for them about Earth culture, where they'll be doing voiceover work. It's a really funny scene because Zev won't tell them what it's about, and Carl forces her to share that it's about beauty pageants. And Carl's like, if it's bullshit, I'm not reading the lines. But Donut's losing like her fluffing mind. And then Carl's about
another special. If you listen to the Audible version of it, you get their session from
Oh,
this
you get the
show
whole
at
session?
the end of the book,
Oh
where
my
Donut's
God.
talking about Cocker Spaniels
Oh my
and going
God.
off, and Carl is, he's talking about video games.
Yes.
It's
Oh my God, that's great.
great.
I should listen to that.
More incentive to listen to the
Uh
Audible version or the Sound Booth Theater version
yeah,
if
yeah,
anybody
yeah.
has that app. Yeah.
Carl is feeling like he wants to object to the whole thing and then realizes that the risk of doing a voiceover work for this show compared to all of the other interviews they've had, this will be very tame and safe for them, so he does
Yeah.
not object further. Um they get some more upgrades. Carl upgrades his armor, or he gets an armor's workshop so that basically he can now label items that he makes as equipment, and the system will label it as such, and then they can like put it on. It will match the size of their head or body or whatever. And he can now make equipment for Katya, and he uses the cookbook to craft a backpack, which he fills with 1.5 tons of materials and has to create a frame that the backpack sits on so that Katya can get underneath it, and they can basically like set it on her body so that she can equip it, which they do. And it's kind of like painful and uncomfortable and humiliating for her, but she does it. And she now has a ton of mass that she can start using.
So some of this he gleaned from the cookbook,
Yes.
obviously, but he says that he got the idea from what we saw in the first book when he realized that cabinets,
Oh,
like
yes,
if
that's
you just
right.
put the whole thing into your inventory, you can like kind of take things out of the cabinets. And he's like, I thought maybe if it was like a backpack, you can equip as much weight into it as you want and then
Right.
absorb it in your body. So like this is another way that Carl is being clever and like taking things from the
Yes.
cookbook and like making Katya stronger, but without alerting anyone to the fact that he's like being helped
Yeah,
externally.
exactly. This is like he thinks this is the intended way to use her class, because otherwise, if she didn't have items within containers, if she pulled it out, it would just like fall on the floor. But because it's
Yeah,
equipping
exactly.
it, she's basically like moving it between her inventory and the backpack, like a video
Uh-huh.
game. Yeah, it's very clever. Katya makes the comment, if Fanar could see me, I'd like to see him call me useless now. Uh, I'm excited for the sisters or the daughters to see me. And we're getting like a more scratch of the surface of Katya, and we're starting to get the sense like Fanar is someone from her past who thought she was useless,
Hmm.
and she's kind of like to just like we kind of begin to form a trope of her, of like a wounded or abused woman, and someone who's like found either dependence on her sisters or like safety with them. And so
That,
the dynamics of the
yeah,
relationships aren't clear, and I like that they're open for interpretation by the reader, and we get to
yes.
like create our own meaning there. um
Yeah, I'm very much getting like, I mean, just like for me personally, like when she's like, let him call me useless now, that motherfucker.
mhm,
This is a woman who feels strong. This is a woman who
yeah,
feels powerful. So yeah, it's like it's she's like
yeah,
it's a heady thing. When you were previously weak and now you have like this, you have something that,
mhm,
yeah, that she's just coming into her strength, and I fucking love it. Katya is
yeah,
every chapter getting becoming more and more.
right,
So yeah,
yeah.
I
and
love her
and
transformation.
and it's great that Carl is able to like help her feel useful, to feel capable, and feel like
Huh?
she can overcome her demons,
Hmm.
so to speak. Yeah, it's really great. um Carl reflects on more cookbook entries, and we get to see some like excerpts from a lot of the former authors and learn about them. And sprinkled throughout all the books are entries that like clue us into like the different species that the crawlers are and their like unique perspectives. Like one of them's like from a hive culture, like beehive or bug hive culture, and so they refer to like community as the hive, and it
Hmm.
provides an interesting perspective. But we get a couple entries here. To me, it's a lot like the Avatar like past avatars in Legend of Korra. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but like the
Oh yeah, no, I love Legend
avatar,
of Korra. Yeah.
yeah, gets access to talking to previous avatars, and it feels like that, or from My Hero Academia, like
Yes.
the previous users of One for All, and how there is like a or Sense8 from Netflix, just like a
Oh
group of people
yeah.
acting in concert as an individual, is kind of
Forgot
what the
about that
cookbook
show.
becomes. Yeah. And it's
That
here
was
where
good.
we see like Carl feeling comforted and reassured by the camaraderie that he feels with these
Yes.
people. And he starts writing entries at one point like to them as like a form of journaling, which is really powerful and cathartic for his character. Yeah, it's great. We get a recap next. We see Quan CH flying through the tunnels with the cape that he got from his celestial box that Donut, every time we see Quan CH, Donut complains about him and feels uh, like he's a cheater that took their item. But he's destroying trains everywhere he goes. He's just flying around destroying trains. Farming XP, which is very useful for him, but Carl gets like we get the nagging feeling, and I think Carl does too, that the more derailments there are, the more problems this is going to cause, and we cannot control Quan. We like there's this sense of escalation towards something that we don't understand, and he is part of the problem.
Fucking hate Quan. I have no good things to say about Quan except for uh
I don't
he eventually gets he eventually has the day he deserves. So
I do not remember. I think I remember when it happens. I don't remember what happens to him, but we'll definitely
oh,
talk
it's
about it
good.
when we get there.
Yeah.
Um, During the recap, there's a clip of Carl. I don't
With the
remember.
head.
Oh yeah, with the
Yeah.
whole spell, and it just and then they cut in him laughing from some other time, and it
From
makes him
another time.
look insane. And you begin to
Yes.
wonder, like, are they like, what about Lucia? What about Prepotente? What about all these other crawlers that look insane and crazy? Are they just getting the same treatment Carl is? Is this something that's driving
Maybe.
gonna drive other crawlers away from trusting Carl because of how they're making him look? Obviously, viewers of the stream who can watch Carl 24/7 or 30, 360 million,
Yeah.
whatever the universal metric for time is, but like they know that Carl isn't acting exactly that way. Anyway.
Exactly. And this is like so like if you think back on like when Katya was first introduced to
Mm-hmm.
Carl, like in
Heckler warned me, you're crazy.
yes, exactly. So it's like, okay, is everyone else are the recaps like has Carl just not been paying attention to the way that he's being like what the way like he's being shown and maybe the
Mm-hmm.
way others are perceiving him is it like tailored to each one like as they're watching the recap episode are they just hiding these things from Carl and they're not anymore have they
Yeah.
been seeing this the whole time like I don't know like I genuinely don't know but like I love it because like we get a little context here you know where it's like, oh God, like they make him look fucking psychotic, and he's just like laughing and screaming into the decapitated head's face, and then like, like cracking up over like, oh God, it's so
Yeah.
fantastic. But yeah, no, you're right. It's like, okay, is Hecla really like this? Is Lucia Marr really as crazy as they portray her? But
Well,
we also
yeah.
saw her on that talk show where
Yeah,
she was like,
And
I'll
Hecla
feel
saw
that poop
Carl
in
on the talk
myself.
show, and
Yeah,
Hecla seemed to
so
like what Carl and Donut had to say then. But they've also been doing some crazy fucking shit in the dungeon.
yeah, and then
So
yeah, dude. So
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. Chapter 13 ends with them all with benefactor boxes from their sponsors arriving. But apparently, every single crawler has been sponsored by some company, which is the first time in the history of the crawl that this has happened.
We've
So
also have
there
a lower amount of crawlers at this level than
that's
was
true. That's
previously.
a good point. That's a good point.
So more people
Um
were able to sponsor crawlers than ever before.
Right.
because we are inching closer to extinction.
Right. Well, and just because sponsors are sponsoring crawlers doesn't mean they're going to necessarily get benefactor boxes.
Right.
Earlier in a chapter, I think was mentioned that now viewers of those crawlers are now receiving ads, and Donut was like, "I hope that there's a lot of different ads and not just the same one over and over and over, because that's the worst." Which is funny. But so some benefactor boxes arrive because there are so many of them that Borant has implemented a money grab, I mean a rush order fee, to prioritize certain benefactor boxes. Carl's was paid for and rushed. So he gets
Yeah.
his, Katya and Donut do not. It's a pill. It's a pill from I'm forgetting the name of the company
The
already.
Valte.
The
The
Valte, which
Valte
are
Corporation.
very
The
technologically
red-headed
advanced.
dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pill which has a lot of technical jargon about it and compatibility with interface and morphology and wetware, which would suggest that every
It's
biological
human meat
being,
sack.
yeah, every biological being's like physiology is categorized in a certain way, and their ability to interface with certain technologies. It's like a version control ID for
Yeah.
bodies. It's weird and gross.
It is wetware.
Carl really doesn't want to take it, but he feels like he'd be stupid not to. So he takes it and thanks the Valte for appearances. And then he sees what it can do. He can identify and analyze subspace portals. And he proceeds to look at the doorway from their personal space, which is portaled because they can access it from lots of places. And he can learn a lot about doors. There's just like lots of information, and he can see through them. He looks through into a safe space and sees the Bobka protector like picking his nose or something. And he's like, oh, this is fucking awesome. And this is just another insanely powerful tool at Carl's disposal. But it's going to come in real handy, especially to figure out the dungeon. And they proceed to the place that they can best use that item. So it is very important that they rushed this, and very important that they went back to their safe space so that they could receive this item. Because where they head next is towards the end of the line, where there is a portal. But first, they slip into the Desperado Club. This is at the start of chapter 14, as they're about to, right before they get on the Nightmare Express. The Sledge has used his own money to buy a spell that he can cast to better protect Donut and Carl. This is the trust that they put, and it's paying dividends already, that they asked for these guys to continue to be their protection, because they feel duty and honor bound, and like they owe Carl and Donut, and they are going all out to protect them. Donut goes to a guild hall and I think trains dodge. It's expensive but worth it to just get an immediate level in the skill. Carl is social networking and creates, I think you wrote this note, a Discord server.
Yeah, Carl makes a Discord server while he's waiting on Donut to come out of the dodge skill training room. He's like, all right, fist bumps everybody, and he's just trying to get as many people into his chat as he possibly can. Is it
clear to you? So if everybody fist bumps in the same location and time, they can form like a big group chat? Is that how that's working?
I think so, because he says like that one of the
one-on-one connections.
I think it's that, I don't know if it's like everybody at the same time, but I do know that he takes time, like one of the things he mentions is like after they fist bump with him, they all fist bump with each other.
Right. Yeah.
So he's creating, and then I think that he says that like after he did this, like there was a thing he was able to do and like create a group chat from that.
Okay,
so like he's just trying to like add as many people as he can to his own group chat. And I think from there, that's how we see all of the rest of the crawlers getting access to everyone else.
Yeah. And
But
it
yeah, he
is
makes a
a
Discord server.
disorganized spam mess, and a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
crawlers he's finding have no idea what's going on, and
yeah,
it the sense of confusion, like even worse confusion among crawlers, doesn't necessarily bode poorly for Carl. But we care about that number. Like Carl cares about the number that he sees constantly, the
yeah.
number of crawlers remaining, and he feels loss when it goes down. So we feel dread at the fact that these crawlers don't know what's going on, because it means worse odds for them. So the dread continues to grow. They head to the Nightmare Express, which is a train full of like livestock cars full of monsters, like nasty monsters, and they discover that they have to enter the back and climb over the top of them while dealing with those monsters to get to the front. Um, and
There's
that
a
way
lot of
they won't.
nasty fucking
Yeah.
monsters in this train
And
too.
because they can't enter from the front, they can't use protective shell from the front to kill everything in the back. So
Hmm.
they need a plan. They decide to wait for the next one. Carl comes up with a plan. Carl and Donut they drop into the tunnel with their plan. And
Hmm.
while they're off the platform ahead in the tunnel, waiting for the next train to come, they talk about how they are treating Katya, and this is a big sticky point and good
Yeah.
development.
Mhm.
Donut points out to Carl that he is bossing Katya around about like what to do with
Mhm.
equipment and mass and how to use her class. Carl retorts with, "You're doing the same, but with her look and appearance, making her wear a mohawk and boots," and the comment about bigger boobs and blah, blah, blah. And Donut responds, "Fashion is different from making someone change. You keep telling her to be herself, but you're the one making her change the most of all." And Carl concedes this point. He realizes that there
Mhm.
is truth to this and agrees that he will ask for Katya's consent moving forward, but is also feeling like, I don't have time to nurture people's feelings. We're trying to survive.
Right.
We don't have time to, kumbaya. That's not what he says,
You
but
see it from both sides, but no, like but he and the fact and like it's wonderful that he does
yeah,
concede this point with Donut because he's like, you're absolutely right. But like you see it from his perspective too. He's like, I'm
yeah,
helping her become stronger. She is surviving. She is, she's becoming like a real member of this team. She
yeah,
has purpose.
yeah,
And you see it from his perspective because he's like he's responsible for this person, and we don't know what Hekla's motivations are. Maybe Katya joined this group, and the whole point was for her to die on Carl's watch so that Hekla could come after him. We don't
well,
know.
we haven't
We
gotten to
don't
that part
know.
yet, but
Right. But no, right. But at this point, we don't know. So Carl is like, this woman is gonna survive no matter fucking what. But Donut is also like, hey, like, you know, we're a team, like this isn't just the Carl show. It's all of us, and we're all working together, and like, quit being a dick. And he's like, you're right, I am being a dick. So like,
yes, yeah,
I love the way he values his partnership with Donut, like it like harkens back to that shit that we were talking about in the last book, where he's like, you don't risk your life for pets, when she does something dangerous to help
mm,
Mongo. And like, he immediately regrets it, and then they have this moment where he's like, let's get up there and clear out these mobs, okay, partner? And she's
yeah,
like, okay. So like, he regrets it, and Donut is his family. Donut and
yes,
Mongo are his family. Donut is his friend, his his rescuer. Many times, Donut has come in clutch and like saved his ass. So like,
hmm,
it's
yeah,
I love these moments where you see like when she kind of like lays down the law, and he like takes a step back and he listens to her, and he's like, "You're fucking right."
yes.
I love those
Yeah,
moments.
he budges a little bit, but it's not like we've resolved like one of us is right and one of us is wrong. It's like these are both important. And
Yes.
this scene sets up a huge, like,
Yeah.
the like how we've treated Katya along the way comes back in a very
Yeah.
big way, and this is a really good scene. Um yeah. So pointing out like we haven't done enough to make Katya feel welcome, and we're treating her like she is, a
A
tool rather
tool.
than,
Yeah.
but I don't think Donut believes that, because I think Donut knows that Carl values Katya as a person, but it's just like
Yeah.
the way we treat each other is important when
Yes.
as we are going about
Absolutely.
making those changes. So,
Mm.
so there is a lot of description here, but ultimately what the plan is because they couldn't get at the front of the train while riding it to cast protective shell, what they're going to do is cast protective shell as the train is arriving and have the train ride right through it. But won't the train hit them if they're on the track casting protective shell? You'd think that, but they have a spell, Puddle Jumper, to teleport away. So they do that. They cast protective shell and then teleport back to the platform. Except the plan doesn't go according to plan. They
And she can't
misjudged.
use it in motion.
They misjudged the distance. They have to start running back to get closer to the platform. And Donut barely manages to make it onto the platform, and Carl does not. Carl gets run over by a train. It's just
Right?
horrifying to watch in slow motion on the page. Carl gets slammed into, and I think I pictured, as I was reading this, I was picturing Carl like bouncing around in front of the train against walls, like ping pong or what's it called, pinball
But
machine style.
pinball.
But
But
that's not what
he
happens.
somehow no, like he gets like catapulted basically into like the cow catcher.
Yes.
And
And
like he's
and
like slammed onto the front of the train and he's like
yes, and
healing
it
himself
mostly hits his
continuously.
indestructible feet, and that with a
Yes.
bunch of other factors he talks about is like why he doesn't get immediately just killed.
But like the best part of that, well, but like leading up to that part is where he's like, "Oh, we're running donuts on the platform. Oh man, I'm gonna jump. I might not make it. I don't make it.
I didn't make it. Yep.
I didn't make
Uh,
it.
and not only this, the train does not stop at the platform. It hits
No.
him this hard because it does not stop. In fact, it keeps accelerating. So he lands, he gets text from Katya and Donut freaking out. I'm all right. I'll be okay. He climbs into the cabin. The drivers are dead. They were killed by the protective shell, which is why the train is a runaway now. And there's a
Hmm.
series of complicated levers, knobs, and pulleys, and a bunch of gauges that are going into the red. And it feels like a time-based puzzle that Carl must solve. And in fact, the engine, his explosives expert skill shows, is going to detonate. The engine is overheating and overpressurizing. So he starts to mess with some of the throttles and figures a few things out. And the description of the engine, the train bomb says, made with shocking disregard for safety, almost like they want it to explode as the 2-minute timer appears.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just this fun high stakes situation with a cool plan that they executed improperly. Ironically, if Carl had gotten away, they would have not had a way to stop the train. I have just realized. If
Yes.
Yeah, because the runaway train would have just kept going and exploded.
Yep.
So we don't know how Carl's going to solve this or what the consequences are going to be, but he has to figure this out. We know he'll make it, but it's just a matter of what is going to happen. So Carl's messing with levers like a game puzzle. He cleverly thinks to ask the Meadowlark elders, as many older people might have worked on trains. But no.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Nope.
but he discovers that there's an NPC in the coal engine.
We get a
The
rather horrifying description of
Fire
how this
Brandy.
train, if I love Firebrandy, but
She's
like it is
amazing.
a fucking oh, she's
Yeah.
fantastic. But
She
it's a
is.
horrifying description of how the train is fueled.
Yeah. So
Um,
she is a lesser demon, a fire demon. She is specifically a lesser demon milk.
yes.
Um,
Jesus
her
Christ.
character the creature is designed to be perpetually popping out children. Like, she is pregnant and having children every 5 minutes or so, but most of the babies become dead. and become a source of fuel because she's a fire demon.
They turn
Um,
into steel bricks,
Sheol
which
bricks,
are
yeah.
basically like it's like a brick of coal, and that is what is keeping this train going. But it's like we learned that like one in every 10,000 births are viable or something. So he
Yeah.
opens this up and he hears babies crying in there. She's in, I mean, like, but she's a fire demon, so she's got like two babies in there with her, and she's surrounded by these coal briquettes basically. And it's like, holy shit. And at one
Yeah.
point, like, he picks up like there's like a box or something, like
Yep.
Firebrandy's like, if you run into a spot of trouble or whatever and I'm not here, then use that basket over there, and there's something to keep you going. So he like picks up one of the bricks, and he's like, and the description is literally like, what is it? Oh God, I don't even remember. But he's like, you're holding a dead baby or something.
Yeah, it
Like,
says the train is
that's
running
like,
on dead babies.
yes. Oh man, it's just like, just
it's
when I think like
it's
it
such a
can't be.
crazy contrived
Yes, but
situation.
like, but okay, and not okay. Look, like, it- I don't know if you're feeling this, but this is how I feel. I get desensitized to like the violence and the gore because it's just constant. And
The
okay, it started with him blowing up the room full of like
goblin
baby
babies, and
goblins.
the AI will not let him forget.
No, exactly. And it's and it shouldn't be funny, but like like she's like, wow, there were a lot of babies in there, Carl. Like it is funny. Like how does he, I don't know. Okay, again, this is like,
Yeah,
extolling the many virtues of Matt Dinniman, but like how do you make something that horrifying that
it's
fucking funny
it's
too? So
crazy.
yeah, you become
So
desensitized to
I
it, to
want
like all of the disgusting shit that they do. You're just like, oh God, another one.
I love the AI descriptions so much. So
Me
the
too.
shield brick. If Santa gives coal to the regular naughty kids, he'll probably give shield bricks to history's greatest villains, like Hans Gruber from Die Hard, and the
I
guy who
love it.
invented those shoes with the individual toes built in. It burns a lot hotter and longer than regular coal, and when I say a lot longer, I mean until the end of your lifetime. So like a week or more. It's just this like roller coaster
Asshole.
of concepts changing.
Yeah.
To save you distress, I'm not going to tell you where this came from. That was a lie. It's a baby corpse.
I'm right.
uh,
Oh, I don't
so
know. Yeah,
Br-
dude. That just, it made me laugh, and I was like,
it's
oh
so
no.
funny.
It's so
Firebrandy
good.
coaches Carl on how to like calm the train down and work it out. Um, he grabs some shield bricks for Mordecai as a reagent, and
Yeah.
he realizes he has leveled up 3 levels since running in front of a train. Because a bunch of the monsters on the train were bosses, and he instantly killed them with the protective shell. And so, for
Hmm.
killing 3 boss monsters at the same attack, he gets the achievement 3 Cheers for Slaughter and gets a platinum Big Daddy box, which he'll redeem later. So yeah,
Love it.
he gets control of the train. And despite that plan not going well and then going well, we move into our final set of chapters, 15 through 18 for today anyway. And
Hmm.
I wrote Iron Tangle 401. Escalating doom is what I wrote,
Yes.
because things are right as we are
From
kind of learning how everything is sort of working, and we're beginning to like get a real picture of the Iron Tangle. Things are
yeah,
getting really bad because the
yeah.
DTs are starting,
I
and
from
monsters are.
chapters 15,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say 15 to 8. I was gonna say from 15 to 18, like okay, I'm gonna start over. From chapters like 1 through 14, everything from this like prior, we get some back and forth. We get some rest scenes. We get some,
Yeah,
Carl's reading the anarchist cookbook, and then some funny things happen. Oh,
we're
but then
figuring
there's more
things out.
action. We're
Yeah,
figuring shit out. But from 15 through 18, and then literally from like that point to the end of the book, it just keeps
it
fucking
yeah it
escalating.
does not let up.
No, for like it's just so much happens in these 3 chapters alone. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
so yeah, we
Yeah.
meet Firebrandy actually in chapter 15, I think. Like that was like where most of that
Uh,
happened. Because like at the end of 14, I think was like he hijacks the Nightmare Express. He gets hit, and then I think It doesn't matter.
That was 14. 15. So
Was it?
15 is he. Oh wait, am I getting
Figures
this
out how to like
mixed up?
run the train.
Yeah, I didn't even write down the note that he figures out the train because I just like, okay, he figures out the train. So
Right.
he picks them up. They make their way. They get to the end of the line. They go through the portal, and they are. Oh no, I'm sorry. That is not correct. They find a alternate. He finds along the route back along the Nightmare Express. He finds like a station where he can get the train off
Oh, the
and
turnaround.
find other portals. Yeah, he finds a turnaround, and so there is a portal that leads to what is at the end. It's essentially an end of the line portal, and it goes to the place called the Abyss, which is
yes, okay,
which is essentially a Grand Canyon sized dumpster with portals all over. Like it's a trash bin full of portals all facing inward, coming from all of the lines throughout the entire tangle. And he looks through one of the portal using his new item that lets him see what's going on at the other side of a portal, and he sees trains coming through the other portals and just falling and crashing to the bottom. And along the way, there are all these catwalks with creepy monsters, like lizard monsters called wall monitors. I don't think we learned that till later, but like there's monsters.
They're like a lizard class, yeah.
Yeah. So Carl like witnesses this ultra massive hole and like equates it to the Grand Canyon, which he relives or he remembers his experience when he and his mom were coming back from Texas with his dad. He apparently came and got them, and they went to the Grand Canyon, and he remembers the grand presence, the looming massive presence of the Grand Canyon and the massive looming presence of his father waiting in the car for them.
Yep.
And so we get just another brief memory of his parents. I think there's like do you remember the circus? That was fun, wasn't it? Says his mom. You're hurting me, as she's grabbing his arm. I know, honey. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's it. We just get another brief flashback.
But there's so much in the. I mean, oh god, it's like you're hurting me. Yes, like okay, but that's okay. That has many meanings, right? You're hurting me. Like you're hurting me here in this moment by clutching me too tightly, but also you're hurting me by letting him take us back. And she's like, I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And that's what she's apologizing for, by allowing their father to like come and take them back, by not being strong enough to like stay away from him. I don't know. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, but it's also like insight into the mom's like where her like just it's another clue into that she is a victim in the whole situation with the parents, and she is suffering as well. And she is a struggling parent who doesn't know what to do, which is a setup for what we'll learn later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Carl analyzes the portals with his new feature. He learns that keys and souvenir hats allow safe access through the portals, and he starts spreading the word immediately. And many crawlers are reporting that, oh, the hats? Yeah, those sell for 5,000 gold. I sold my hat. And so we're beginning to shape how fucked many of the crawlers. We're continuing to shape how fucked the crawlers are around the tangle. Katya and Donut report that they've been grinding and clearing the tracks of rubble. Apparently, Katya has been forming her She-Hulk form, and in her massive form, she's been able to pull stuff off of the track. Where continuous improvement for Katya, which is great. And is like a great trajectory for her, like reaching a full capability. And I mean, she's there, and it's only going to improve from here. Carl returns after a few hours. Katya is in her She-Hulk form with a leather outfit and mohawk. She has her brand figured out thanks to Donut. Donut has hit has hit 100 charisma, which has given her an ability called Love Vampire, which is just it's like a reflect damage onto a target of your choice. So it's another survival spell, which is important because of her low constitution. But she got her sponsorship box, which is sunglasses that can see through magical blindness, or it provides protection from magical blindness, enhanced dark vision, heat vision, and many other visions, and provides an spell aim assist. She can like push her uh magic missiles into it and store them and like spread them out, and there's a lot of cool stuff the sunglasses can do. And also Donut looks fucking cool. The fan art is incredible from here on out.
Oh yeah.
Elle and Meadowlark report that they are in a pickle. The trains have stopped coming for them. This is when I noticed that Elle did not provide a pet name for the first time, and it sounds serious because she's not giving Carl a pet name. We learn Quan CH is farming trains for drivers. Soon all the lines will be down, they report, and they have to hoof it to the next line. So it's just like continuing through this like personal other group that we care very much about. Like they're fucked. They're having to take substandard options. They have to walk, which is really scary and bad.
I think it was at this point that he tries to say like, hey, see if there's an alternate way through those tunnels, because they come across the robots.
Maybe
like,
I don't remember.
I think he's like, see if you can get out from there, if there's another exit that way. And then that's where they could, rather than walk up the train tracks.
Shannon, long before chapter 15 did I give up on the notion of tracking all of the specifics of what's going on in the dungeon. Like that's why I covered it all up front, because I didn't want to keep talking about it.
I think he just doesn't want them to have to backtrack, because like on the train tracks, like from station to station. So he's like, try and take the tunnel and see if there's an alternate way out. And they do.
That's true. Later they do, but he pitches them just like an option, and they're like, we'll figure it out. And there's just this feeling of like Carl cannot help other than with just giving advice, and can't go like directly assist. Meanwhile, other people are reporting back that like other crawlers are reporting that they are stranded, and like everyone's getting stranded. And Carl is like remembering Mordecai's advice: you cannot save them all. Like, get this through your head: you cannot save them all. And Carl reconciles that this is the best he can do, is just give advice. And he reflects on some passages from the cookbook from that the hive society crawler that I mentioned, about the philosophy of being alone and wanting to protect your hive even if you're not with them, and wanting to like help all crawlers. And then there's a lot of that philosophy, but then the like main line that comes out of this is, there's consolation in dying in pursuit of justice. And it's right here that Carl resigns himself to doing more to try and help everyone. And I really love this chapter structurally, because it starts with him finding the abyss, the literal abyss, and all these like crawlers finding themselves stuck, but he resolves to helping them at the end of it. And it's just like really powerful, like start the chapter with doom and escalate the doom. And he's like, I got to figure this out. I have to do something. So chapter 16, they connect with Elle again. She calls him Hotshot here. They do find the secret path with the robot room that leads to another track, but the monsters are transforming and they're very powerful. This is kind of like there's a hope, but things are getting worse feeling. Let's see. Donut gets a spell minion army, which they find very useless right now.
That was from a book that she had gotten a few floors before.
Oh, that's right.
It was like 50 mana or something, so she couldn't cast it. So she couldn't even read it, because she didn't have enough mana in order to be able to cast it.
Right. This is, I think, a war spell.
Mechanics. Exactly.
Mordecai's not here to tell us, but this is, I think, our first war spell. Which won't be useful till later. They get to a safe room, but then look outside and there's baboons suffering from the DTs. They're at the DTs, which stands for delirium tremens, which is an actual medical thing. It is life-threatening alcohol withdrawal. That's the real life inspiration, I think, for this. So there's these baboon monsters suffering from the DTs. They're at stage 2 of 3. And they have taken over the station. They're very strong, but they're able to clear them out. We get scenes of them fighting that just show off their growing strength, items, and capabilities. We see Donut's laser in action, Katya fighting despite her fear, Carl using his Chistera banger spheres made of dwarven metal, and his powerful strike. We see Katya growing more confident, and like she's like during combat, she is learning how to use her body better. She's like creating in combat. It's very Carl. Yes. It's very anime. Like, oh, I have to figure out how to improve my powers through trial and error and during combat. Yeah, it's cool. Katya's really trajectory is a lot through the chapter, but we see all of these moments where it's little improvements and it feels natural. It's great.
And it's just like, yeah, it just keeps building. It's so good.
They move around on the trains, and we get a scene with Donut, Katya, and Firebrandy discussing being mothers. Which Donut.
My boy's name is Mongo.
Yeah, my boy's name is Mongo. And Katya reveals that she was trying to adopt before the collapse, which is another fun fact to learn about her that rounds her out and will also pay off later when it gets brought up again. We'll see that later next week on the next episode. So, they reach the train station at the start of the line, has watchtowers all over. There's thousands of festering ghouls. They run into a grease gremlin train technician named Widget, who's a very fun character. His description... Go ahead.
I was going to say, this is one of the weirdest accents.
I love this guy.
Oh, no, I love him. But, like, if you have... So you said you didn't listen to the audiobook this time around for it, but, like, if you go and listen to the Widget chapter, this is me now gushing over how amazing Jeff Hayes is, because it's, like, a cross between, like Cockney and then, like, Southern, but also, like... somehow like Creole or something. Like it's like a
weird
mishmash of all of these. It's like weird accents, and somehow, like, I know in my bones that Matt Dinniman did this just to fuck with Jeff Hayes. He was like, like he described what the accent was supposed to sound like, just to see if Jeff Hayes could do it, and he fucking did it. It is one of the weirdest accents, character, whatever.
So funny
I've ever heard, but Jeff Hayes is so talented.
I've heard interviews where he's talked about writing characters specifically for Jeff Hayes. And it sounds like this is a prime example of that.
Oh yeah. So if you have the audiobook, please like pay close attention to these these specific accents that are thrown out there as like this is what he sounds like. And I just can see Matt Dinniman like rubbing his hands together like, yeah, try to do this one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the grease gremlin description is like, grease gremlins are kind of neutral, but the only thing preventing this guy from attacking you is that sensitivity training class human resources made him take in order to secure this job. Which is a very funny line. As long as you don't abuse him or his loved ones, or his beloved trains, you'll probably be fine. So this is like another safe. This is another employee that we meet. One of a few we've met. He reveals that there is an employee train line that's relatively safe, which is useful to this party and other parties. The ghouls notice them and start charging. Donut kills them, and then Widget proceeds to flirt with Donut. Oi, nice shot, lassie. He licked his lips and looked at Donut appraisingly. I like a lassie with meat on her bones, especially with fighting in them. Excuse me?
Yep.
Donut said, did you just call me fat? And then Widget goes on to propose, like, hey, why don't you come on over for dinner? And then there's like an implied like, and extramarital affairs with me and my wife.
Yes. Absolutely.
And she responds with, you say you have fish? What kind of fish do you have? It's just very stupid. This is perhaps the part of the first half of the book I'm most confused about, and I don't really need an understanding, but there's a description of a critical mass of the ghouls coming here and congregating here and a wall breaking down. I don't quite understand. what
Uh,
wall and where the ghouls go, but they apparently flood into this area or away from
I
the
get
area and into the train lines. I don't know. All I know is
I
it
get
begins
the
to be more
sense.
chaotic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's just ramping up in terms of chaos. But I get the sense that after the trains had broken down, and they weren't able to return to their original stops like they had when the trains were running. They were just walking up the tracks and through
Yes.
portals or wherever they found them, and they found themselves in these train yards.
Yes.
Which is why occasionally, like throughout the book, like they'll say, "Oh yeah, this one got really far," or "Yeah, we saw a couple of them, like the
Mm,
shambling whatever berserker, or if I don't remember what they're called, like walking along this line or whatever." So I'm getting the impression that like they're being rounded up, but we also
yes.
at certain points, like once there are enough of them, they're like fusing together.
That's right. I
So
yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
purpose. But
So
I yeah, like I don't have a
by
layout of like what the station looks like or where the
I
wall
have the
is, but
map right not that one. I have the map right here. By the
oh,
end
okay.
of this, at all of these red
Oh
circled
yeah.
and arrow pointed train stations, like there's like a dozen of them. There are either a boss or different types of ghouls spawning at each station, and it's just like, why are there different types of ghouls and different forms of spawning? It gets very confusing, but this is
Yeah.
an
We
aid
also
that they
have
put in the book to help you later um, in what's
as
going
much
on.
as you can be
Yeah,
helped by yeah,
yeah.
it's yeah, anyway. But then this is like where,
So
again, Volte coming in clutch and
the
doing
portal
doing
analyzer
the
is
portal
incredibly helpful here.
exactly.
Yeah.
So helpful.
So like they wouldn't have even known that the hats would let them through the portals at the end of the tracks without the portal
That.
analysis.
hmm
Um yeah.
And Widget, I think, also like was an incredibly important character for however briefly he was on the page,
Yeah.
because he tells them, "Hey, this is the train that takes you right back to the beginning. It
Right.
goes right through. It goes straight to the stairwell. Basically, he gives you
Yeah,
like
it's
all of
like
that
it's a
information.
separate line that goes past all of the stations and
Uh huh.
other lines and goes straight to where the stairwell some of the stairwells are connected for several lines, I think. So it's kind of like a cheat route. Yeah. Anyway, so he shares a lot of information. And then one of the ghouls that Donut killed comes back to life and kills Widget. Um,
Yep.
and with the critical mass reaching, the wall breaking, ghouls coming back to life, it is overwhelming horror continuing to build here. Even here at the train yard. Yeah. So they end up going through a complicated series of turning the train around and going through a bunch of places and leaving. And along the way, they pick up an HR lady, Madison,
Madison.
who they save from being attacked. There's a funny description of her being divorced and getting a ton of work done on her body. Well, a ton of work done, meaning like a boob job and lips
Labiaplasty and
spilled and labiaplasty. Yes, labiaplasty is mentioned. Um, and getting off on having power over employees. And Donut asks, why do they keep calling it human resources? It's racist.
yep.
Uh, um,
I I
Madison
do want to just
is yeah, okay. Go
I
ahead,
want to take
please.
a one teeny tiny little thing. The moment where Donut, back before they find Madison, the NPC, just after
Mm,
Widget is killed, they're on the train tracks. They have to turn the train around into the little roundabout. And the only way they can do that is from Widget's tower that he was in
yes,
previously. And so Donut has to, Carl's like, no, I'm gonna go. I'll do it. I'll climb up the chain. And Donut's like, are you fucking kidding me? Just let me go. I've got this. And of course, he's like, okay, well, we're partners.
yeah.
I don't want to let her go, but I
This
have to let her
is
go.
this is Carl having to like let other people take risks because they are better
Exactly.
suited for it.
And this was a really good moment for that. So she does. She gets up there. There's some funny comments about all the lotion and, jerking off that
Yeah.
he probably did in that tower. She's like, I'm surprised he ever went home. It seems like he lived up here. So we get a little hint from that. And then, yeah, and then she just does a little, like her little puddle jump back down to the train, and
Yep.
and off they go.
Off they go.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Donut saves the day in Widget's tower.
Yes. So they then pick up Madison. They save her. She proceeds to be super gracious and grateful to them by saying, employees only are supposed to be back here. What are your employee numbers? Oh, you're not employees. You shouldn't be here, and chastising them. Carl compares her to Beatrice's mother.
Yep.
And she's just a super bitchy NPC. And she's kind of our clue into that there are NPCs that were created to manage other NPCs. She basically isn't, she self-reports that she's in charge of telling employees that overtime is mandatory. So when the conductors teleport back here, she's responsible for telling them that they must get on a train again and that they cannot go
Yep.
home. And that's because their homes don't actually exist. Their entire backstories are fictional and made up. And it's like she is key into the control. At least
Madison doesn't realize that their homes don't exist. She
right.
has
Yeah.
no clue.
She keeps insisting, yeah, no, this station has our dormitories. That's where our families are, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Carl sees the irony in what Borant is doing to these NPCs and what the NPCs are doing to other NPCs in terms of abuse of them and control. So something in the cookbook suggests that quests are a lot easier to accomplish if you get NPCs to break that fourth wall. And the way to do that is to firmly but kindly challenge the nature of their reality by asking questions.
Yes.
It says it's cruel but necessary, and so Carl starts doing this with all the NPCs he sees throughout the rest of the floor, including her. She reports that there's these other employees called crabyads who control portals at the stations that employees are supposed to get off at, and they are responsible for brainwashing and hypnotizing the employees before they get sent back to the train yards. And so this represents, there's a portal that stranded crawlers can use. They just have to get past this crabyad boss. Except we start to learn that they're not bosses. They're in fact just other NPCs. And she goes on to report that she also works with another set of employees, and that are the station mimics. And I went, the what? And Carl went, the what? And Donut went, the what? And she goes, oh yeah, the station that all of our employees tell the crawlers that they should get off at before the end of the line. Yeah, those are mimics the size of the station.
Right.
And Carl immediately proceeds to warn Bautista that it's a trap because he had previously told them to go down to that station.
Oh, fuck. And he's like, yeah, way ahead of you, buddy.
Yep. Start of the next chapter. Too late. It's a city boss. The whole station is a boss. It ate 20 of the 400 people I brought here right away. We're fighting the tongue and minions it belches out. We don't know what to do. Half of us sold our hats and can't escape on the next train. Try the Crabyad boss 2 stations down, says Carl. So they interrogate Madison. She talks about other, quote, cost-saving methods for the Iron Tangle Company. And she just is like super proud of her work, even though it's horrifyingly shitty to people, and is just great commentary on HR practices and how HRs are there to simply serve the company and not the employees. It's great.
Yep.
She reveals that if the Crabyad dies, the portal at that station shuts down. So it's like, oh fuck, we have to find a way to subdue the Crabyad and not kill them. It's just another form of trap to fuck over crawlers. Yep. Yeah, and the dire situation is growing here. It's awful. Elle reveals some information about the secret routes with the robots. This is just a recap of it's like the whole thing is designed to break down and amass the ghouls together for some reason that we don't understand. Elle's crew is confused about what to do next. Again, dire situation. We don't know what to do. Blah blah blah. They find a secret hatch. This where this was and how it's a part of everything confused me. This might be a part of the employee line. But they basically find a room with 5 stairwells, and it feels like a trap to Carl. But he went with Katya, or Katya asked to come, and it's because Katya wants to chat one-on-one. She shares a couple things. First of all, she shares that she can create more eyes.
That part is so creepy.
And it's gross and makes her sick to do if the vision is overlapping with other like eyes, and or if she holds them for a couple minutes. But she's training herself, and that's important, is like she's taking the initiative to make this her own thing and not relying on Carl for ideas, and that's huge.
Yeah.
She talks about, though, how the process of finding new and important ways to use her abilities is making her feel even less human. She says, I'm not even human anymore. I know I need to get over it, but it's hard. And this is her basically like supporting what Donut was saying, is like, we need to nurture Katya and be kind and gentle and like help her with this, not just tell her what to do. And then she moves on to a new topic, which is huge. She reports that she saw Donut pull something out of her inventory and try and hide it. A PvP coupon, which is a coupon that says, if you kill the crawler whose name is on this, you will get tons of rewards, including a level. And on the name of the coupon that Katya found is Carl's name. She apparently got this after the club incident and did not tell us. Katya had messaged Hecla to confirm and learn about this, and Hecla confirmed that anyone in a party that kills another crawler receives a coupon book, and it has a coupon with the name of every other crawler in their party.
Katya
Katya's,
thinks this is a setup.
Yeah, Katya's really nervous about this because, you know, she didn't keep the Carl coupon, but what about the Katya coupon?
What about the Katya coupon?
And
exactly.
Carl's like, I'm sure Donut got rid of it another time. How does Hecla know this? And apparently, one of Katya's friends, I think she came into the dungeon with this friend, Eva, also received this when she killed someone creepy that they met along the way in their travels. And Eva told Hecla. Carl says he will handle it, and his plan is to do it when they are in a trailer, not streamed and off air.
So
in a green room, basically. And then he messages Amani because he knows Amani has experience with this. And she confirms all of this, that she left hers behind despite all the practical benefits because it made her feel gross. Elle claims that she did not get any when she killed the crawler during the donut assassination incident. And apparently it's only the first member of a party to get a skull receives the book, the coupon book. And Amani reveals that Donut had asked Amani about it and told Donut to get rid of them. And Carl is worried because he's reflecting on Donut as like a child. She doesn't process things the same way that a human or an adult does. I will talk to her about this. I need to talk to her about this. And you can feel the dynamic within their party shifting. Katya is feeling nervous. Carl is nervous because Donut didn't talk to him about it. But he realizes, well, she did talk to someone probably better. She reached out to Amani. That's not nothing. She is handling this in a good way. So Carl's thinking about this, but he kind of pushes the topic of the sisters onto Katya and is like, so Hecla has all women. What if Donut and I wanted to join? Would Hecla let me? And this is interesting because it gets some insight into what Hecla is thinking and the whole women party thing, and maybe what Hecla's up to with Odette's warning. He can see, like, apparently you can see when people are texting, their eyes will like light up or flicker a little bit. And so there's like an indication when other crawlers are texting, and he can see that Katya is talking to Hecla. And she asks, so do you want to join? And Carl lies, says, maybe.
Maybe. What
And
else are you
she
supposed to say?
and Katya's honest. She's like, Hecla really likes Donut, but thinks you are reckless. She'd probably want to talk to you first. And I think that Katya is making an excuse for Hecla. She does. I don't think Katya knows how Hecla would
Yeah,
respond and is trying to
no.
be agreeable.
And
Uh,
diplomatic and like
yeah.
without hurting Carl and being like, fuck no.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so this tension is building here. We can feel
Yes.
there we are moving towards something here.
Yeah. Big,
Uh,
big, big,
uh
big.
Zev chimes in and says that their next interview, the voiceover work is coming soon, and Carl tells her to fuck off. And Zev just laughs at him and says, "Well, I'll teleport you away." Um, and Carl can tell Katya's nervous and anxious about things, but isn't saying it. And Carl worries that the way he's been treating her is biting them in the ass. Um, he talks about how she's anxious, quiet, and hesitant, but he likes her and that she's dependable. She's like come a long way,
Hmm.
but she will eventually go back to Hecla.
Yeah.
And he's realizing, like, well, either I'm going to need to learn to tank better or we're going to need to find another tank because this is way too valuable. And Carl, this is huge. Carl just kind of reflects on all the social dynamics and he's frustrated with it. He wishes things were simpler, that people could simply be loyal, and recalls feeling that way with Beatrice when he was fighting with her over getting rid of Donut.
Yeah.
Um, to Carl, I think we see a lot of their argument on the page, but
Yeah.
ultimately, like, to Carl, it was about Donut's dignity as a living creature, which we can see he's been treating NPCs with dignity. And to Beatrice, it was just about selling Donut for money. And
Yeah.
we kind of see this kind of naive perspective on human social dynamics from Carl here.
Yeah. Well, he's like, this is your cat. You took responsibility for her,
Yeah.
and then she's a former grand champion. She'll sell for insane amounts of money. And
Yeah.
I'm just like,
It's
damn.
I think what's great about Carl is he is so practical minded and tactical and strategic. But then when it comes to the dignity of people, he cannot abide any indiscretion towards the dignity of someone.
And
And
it wasn't even that he was saying that she shouldn't get a new cat if that's what she wanted. He's just like, get the new cat. Like, but why do you have to get rid of Donut?
right,
Like
exactly.
that was like
Exactly.
what he couldn't wrap his head
Yeah.
around. Like
And
this cat who she supposedly loved.
yeah.
She's like,
And
yeah, we're gonna
he
sell her for a lot of money. And he's like,
Yeah. And he
whoa,
cannot wrap his head around this whole thing with Hecla. Like, why can't we all work together? Why is this a thing that I
yeah,
have to worry about and strategize around?
yeah, big,
Yeah. So they head back, they reconnect, they go to the station that Madison claims is going to have their dormitories. There is nothing there. Their memories are false. And Madison's like, I'm going to stay here. I'm assuming other employees will congregate here. Um, and Carl reflects on how even this shitty NPC, is blameless in this whole thing because her personality is programmed. She is programmed to be this shitty. It is not her fault. Like, she has no control over how Madison has no control over how her outlook is and how she treats and thinks about other people. So it's like Carl being compassionate towards the NPCs. Um, which is when he doesn't need to because
no, exactly.
it's
Like that,
shitty.
it's that the game is set up that way.
And it solidifies like that impression that Carl really truly cares about the dignity and has respect for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
and
it is
then
at
the
it's
yeah.
at that moment
Oh
that
yeah.
Donut realizes that Madison also reminds her of Beatrice's mom. And then she says something really sad and ironic. She's like, Donut could tell that Beatrice's mom never treated any of the cats as well as how Beatrice treated her,
Hmm.
which is sad considering what Beatrice
So
had been
sad.
planning for Donut.
Planning to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole chapter just leaves lots of icky feelings and dread for new reasons. And
Yeah,
it's yeah,
it's
yeah. So the whole
exceptional, an exceptional set of chapters.
yeah, really good. Really, really good. Makes you feel icky and sets up a lot of great stuff in the back half of this book.
Lots of
So
big feelings.
yeah. I think ultimately the first half of this book is just it's confusing, and I could get why some people might get frustrated with it or annoyed, or I'm sure Matt Dinniman has lost readers to this book either in
Really?
the
You
first
think so?
half. I could see it. I've been reading about
Man.
people's gripes about Matt Dinniman, and occasionally this book specifically comes up.
Well,
And
I mean, I don't know. I have gripes about some things and other maybe I don't know, man. I can't think of a single bad thing to say about Matt Dinniman. Maybe some other authors, sure. But nah, dude, like it doesn't stop me from reading the books though. I'm like, okay, this is
mm,
a rough patch. We'll get through this, you know?
mhm.
We're gonna get through this, and then the enemies are gonna become lovers, and it's all gonna be okay.
It's gonna be
So
great.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I don't have like a nice bow to put on the end of this because we're kind of in the halfway through the book. But yeah, I like a
Yeah.
lot of how this whole start of the book just slowly builds on a lot of these themes and slowly builds on a lot of these plot threads, and
This is
nothing now or later feels unearned.
I
Um,
think that these like this book specifically, I think it's like the frog in the boiling pot of water analogy, like
the
that he
Mordecai
used in the
in the pot.
the Mordecai in the pot analogy from like the previous book when he was on the show with Ripper,
Hmm.
because it's like a lot of this. There's like all this tension, and it's simmering and it's boiling and it's about to fucking bubble over, and we're all
Yes.
just sitting and stewing in it right now, and it's just
Yeah, we don't
so
have a
good.
choice. We have to sit here getting boiled alive slowly.
Yeah,
Uh,
willingly,
yeah.
gladly, great
I
fucking book. I forgot how good this was.
this one I was anticipating it being confusing and frustrating because that was a big part of what I took away from it the first time, but now especially like really getting into my critique, I'm like, okay, this has got so much meat on its bones.
Yeah,
Did you just call me fat? That yes, this book is fat. Um It's
perfect.
got a lot to offer. So yeah, next week we will be finishing this book, chapters 19 through 34, plus the epilogue. I'm already halfway through putting my notes in here, and
I will
I'm
do my best, buddy.
yeah. I know this one went a little longer, but I'm feeling
All
good.
right. I think
Yeah,
that the next set of chapters we're going to fly through,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
all pretty
yeah.
action packed. So,
Yeah, and a lot of it is just kind of like, yep, there's action and discovery of the iron
yeah,
tangle, and it works.
yeah,
Kind of. It's
perfect.
confusing, but it works.
It's
All
confusing, but
right.
I love it.
Well, if you are, dear viewer, who has sat through almost 3 hours of this video, enjoyed it, please let us know in the comments. Give us a like. Follow on YouTube. Our discoverability of the YouTube channel is really important to the Fable Table brand right now. So just dropping a subscription or a follow on either Twitch or YouTube or both would be greatly appreciated. But we will see you next time with the second half of book 3. Next time. Have a good
Next
one.
time. Bye, friend.
Bye.